everybody. Welcome to the broadcast. Hunter Hornstein here. Tonight we've got Game 3 of a 3-game set between the San Rafael Pacifics and the East Bay Lumberjacks. The Pacifics coming in first place in the brand new Pacific Association at 35-12. The East Bay Lumberjacks at 1-20, currently at the bottom of the standings. Well, the big news is today there was a trade, and a pretty big one at that. San Rafael sent hometown hero Steven Detweiler over to the East Bay Lumberjacks, and he is in the lineup and playing in green. What's crazy about this trade is that a guy like Steve Detweiler, who, if you remember, hit 2 home runs on opening day a year ago, hit a couple of home runs for the Pacifics this year, the hometown hero who won a College World Series with Fresno and went to school down the street in San Rafael High, is now playing on the other team. It was a little weird seeing him in batting practice, but he's fired up and ready to go in this Game 3. San Rafael Pacifics were looking to complete a sweep. They have won another series after winning the first 2 games of the best of 3. They've now won 5 series in a row, dating all the way back to their Hawaii road trip. The Lumberjacks, the brand new team in the Pacific Association, are looking to maybe salvage this final game. And we're here at beautiful downtown San Rafael, Albert Park, the site of tonight's game. The Pacifics getting ready to go as the managers finish up their meeting at home plate. I mentioned the Pacifics 35-12, first place atop the Pacific Association, a 4-game winning streak for the team, and 8-2 in their last 10. That included a Hawaii road trip that they just got back from. They went 8-4, winning both series against the Hilo Stars and the Maui Nikoi Kaike out at Iron Maheda Stadium.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here
the Pacifics take the field here at Albert Park in front of the
Pacific.
packed house, and a beautiful night for baseball. Just a slight wind blowing out to right field. You don't normally see that a whole lot. Usually it goes out to left. But nevertheless, a beautiful day and a beautiful game. Tonight, it'll be Bennett Whitmore, the starter for San Rafael. He is 5-2 with a 4.10 ERA in 8 games so far. He's all started them 2 complete games in 52 2/3 innings pitched. In his last outing against Maui on July 19th, in a Pacific's 15-6 victory, 7 innings pitched, 5 runs, 4 of them earned, and no walks. This is a guy that does not walk a whole lot of batters, only 6 walks in 52 2/3 innings pitched. Whitmore has won his last 4 decisions dating back to June 30th and will look to keep that streak going here at Albert Park. Let's get you to the starting lineup for the visiting East Bay Lumberjacks, 1-20. Last night, a little bit of a lopsided defeat here at the hands of San Rafael. Leading off for the green, shortstop number 41, Joe Whittick. Batting second, the second baseman, Stephen Flynn. Batting third, Justin James. He's in center field. He had a 2-run home run in last night's game. Mike Taylor, the third baseman, bats in the cleanup position. Batting fifth, and no, don't adjust your TV sets, it's number 28, Steven Detweiler, and he'll be playing in right field. Toby Riddy White in left field, bats after Detweiler. In the number 7 spot is Andre White over at first base. Batting 8th, the catcher, Brad Shannon, he's number 13, and rounding out the order, number 15, Dwight Tardy, he is the designated hitter. Lumberjacks looking to salvage game number 3 of this 3-game set, and the San Rafael Pacifics looking to win another game. They've got a modest 4-game winning streak going, and they'd like to extend that to 5 with a 3-game sweep. We are just about set for baseball. Beautiful day, like I mentioned, in downtown Northern California, downtown San Rafael. And Joe Whittick, number 41, digging in to the left-handed box. It'll be lefty on lefty to start the game as Bennett Whitmore looks to start this game off with a bang. He winds and delivers. Fastball a little low, and away we go here in Albert Park. We mentioned the Lumberjacks' lopsided defeat last night. And talking with their front office as Whittick goes ahead and takes strike 1, count even 1-1. The Lumberjacks, the newly admitted Lumberjacks, I should say, into the Pacific Association. Whitmore winds and delivers. It's a ground ball right to second base. On one hop is Kendall, over to first. And just like that, a good start for San Rafael. 1 down. We mentioned the winning streak for Whitmore. last 4 decisions, all of those games against the Hawaii teams. The only team he has a losing record against, the Vallejo Admirals. He's 1-2 against them, including back-to-back losses. Not a guy that's going to overpower you, really needs to spot up the fastball. As Stephen Flynn digs in, and he takes strike 1. The 1-0 is a fastball down and in for a ball. Count evened up 1-1. Flynn, the second baseman, gets into a deep crouch in the right-hander's batter's box. Whitmore delivers, and it's chopped foul down the third base side. We'll do it again. Mentioned that breeze going out to right field. Normally you see it go to left here at Albert Park. A little bit of a cooler night, not as muggy as it was the last 2 games of this series. As the next pitch is down in the dirt, and it's count evened up 2-2. Two strike pitches fouled straight back. Flynn hitting 160 on the year. No home runs. Only 1 RBI. Awaits the 2-2. Here it comes. Up and in for a ball, and the count is full. Flynn did not play in last night's game. And he swings up the middle, but it's right to Kendall, who throws it on the run and gets his man 2 down quickly here in the top of the first. And that's pretty much the recipe you're going to get from Whitmore. Not a guy that's going to strike out a whole lot. He's going to give up his base hits, but as long as he spots up that fastball, moves in and out, he's going to be pretty successful. When we mentioned the control is probably the X factor with this guy. Only 6 walks in nearly 53 innings pitched. Justin James takes the first pitch for a strike. It's 0-1. James hit the 2-run home run to account for the only 2 runs that East Bay had. And last night, a shot to deep right center field, and he goes ahead and swings at the pitch. Over there is Donani, who throws on the run, and the inning is over. A good start for Whitmore and San Rafael. 1-2-3 goes East Bay. We're here at Albert Park. Pacific's coming up to bat.
All the award-winning coverage and eye-popping photography is always first.
My name is Mariah Chinchilla, and I'm a senior at Dominican University. When I graduate, I want to be a web and media producer.
My name is Daniel Williams. I go to the University of Puget Sound, and I want to work in the baseball industry.
Zach Busson, Dominican University, and I want to be a garment manufacturer.
The name's Vela, Sam Vela. I'm a junior at Dominican University of California. When I graduate, I plan on trying out for professional soccer teams in Europe.
My name is Graham Hooper. I go to the San Francisco Flex Academy, and I want to be a baseball broadcaster.
Jana McCarroll, I go to Dominican University, and I am interested in pursuing media arts.
My name is Spencer Clark. I go to the University of Arizona, and I want to be a composer.
Nadia Green, Dominican University of California, and I'd like to go into PR and marketing.
Hi, my name is Rennie Shapiro. I go to Tam High School, and I'd love to be an ESPN anchor when I'm older.
It'll be left-hander Wayne Franklin for East Bay, the former San Francisco Giant. 0-1, an 11.57 ERA in 3 games, only started 1. His second start of the season is tonight. Just over 9 innings pitched. Franklin, if you are familiar with him, played Major League Baseball for 6 years, made his debut on July 24th, 2000 at the age of 26 with the Houston Astros. Played until 2006, made stops in Houston, Milwaukee, San Francisco. That was in 2004. Played for the Yankees and finished out with the Braves. And with the Giants in 2004, appeared in 43 games, made 2 starts for them, a 6.39 ERA. This is a guy that knows how to pitch. So the battle of lefties, neither of which throw that hard.
Leading off the bottom of the first
And we'll see what the Pacifics can do. It'll look like Bryce Kendall leading off. He'll be followed by the designated hitter Chase Fontaine. Michael Hova batting third in right field. If anyone gets on, it'll be Johnny Woodard. Kyle Donani, Derek Hale, Matt Cavanaugh, Matt Quintero, and Zach Pace round out your order. Kendall out of Oakland, California, just hitting above a 300 clip, and the righty digs in to start the bottom half of the first inning. Franklin delivers and swinging away and fouled down the right field line is Kendall. Price, who went 1 for 4 in last night's game, although he scored 3 runs and the one hit was a big one. A grand slam, his 6th home run of the season, and believe it or not, his 2nd grand slam of the year. He hit one back in Maui, and he swings away and lifts it into right center field. Running over is James, who makes a nice running catch, and Kendall is retired, 1 down. That'll bring up Derek Hale. That'll bring up Chase Fontaine. The designated hitter hitting in the number 2 position. Fontaine went 3 for 6 last night. Scored a couple of runs, 4 RBIs. He himself also hit a home run, a 2-run shot in the 8th. His 3rd home run of the season. Former Atlanta Braves prospect. Lefty on lefty here as Franklin delivers the first pitch, and it's right down the middle for a called strike. Fontaine hitting .284 on the year. Goes ahead and swings it weakly to second base and is retired. 4-3 if you are scoring at home. Stephen Flynn with the easy play over to Andre White at first base for East Bay. And here comes the defending North American League MVP, Michael Hova. All Hova did last night was have 3 hits, 3 for 5 with 2 runs and 3 RBIs. Hova, I don't know if hasn't hit anywhere but 3rd in the lineup for manager Ryan Pretty, and he takes the first pitch down for a ball. I mentioned Franklin, who played Major League Baseball, knows how to pitch and knows how to keep hitters off balance, and the pitch is ripped to 3rd, and it goes under the glove of the 3rd baseman, Mike Taylor, and Hova is aboard with 2 outs. Hova scalded it, and the official scorekeeper is going to go ahead and give him a hit on that one, so mark that down if you're scoring at home. A base hit for Hova, 2-out single. That'll bring up Johnny Woodard.
First baseman, number 7, Johnny Woodard.
Woodard out of Oakland, California, .294, 7 home runs. He leads the team in that category. 28 RBIs. As we reach the halfway mark, or go a little over it here as he takes a strike for the first pitch. He's already matched his total of home runs. He had 7 last season. Lefty on lefty. Hova over at first. He had the 2-out single. Bottom of the first inning, no score. Franklin will check the runner and delivers, and Hova takes it upstairs for a ball, 1-1. Hova, if you're wondering if Franklin thinks he's a stolen base threat, he's not. No stolen bases so far for the former MVP. Swing and a miss. Climbed the ladder on Woodard, and he swung right through it. Strike 2. Woodard, the designated hitter last night, playing the field this year, went 3 for 6, scored a couple of runs, and drove in 3, as was the mantra with the rest of the lineup. Offensive explosion last night takes the 1-2 up, and we're count evened up at 2-2. if the inning were to continue, Kyle Donani, who was playing shortstop. A late scratch in the lineup was Danny Gonzalez, who was originally playing the 6th hole. We'll tell you a little bit about that after this pitch. 2-2, off speed and just low. Franklin grins out there. He wanted that call. So 3-2 with 2 outs. Andre White will back up and play behind Hova, as Michael will be off with the pitch. Lefty on lefty, and the 3-2 is swung on and missed. Throw down to first to complete the strikeout, and that'll do it. Franklin works around a 2-out single. No score as we head to the 2nd. You're watching Pacific's Baseball on Marin TV.
Contestant for tonight's mascot race, Kate Brubaker. She will attempt to race around the bases against our mascots, Sir Francis the Drake.
Hello, my name is Janet McCarroll.
And I'm Sam Bella.
Welcome to the Pacific's Baseball Game Recap, brought to you by Marin TV and Dominican University.
Today we're recapping the game on Thursday, June 27, 2013.
The San Rafael Pacifics came away with a 4-0 victory on this matchup against the Hawaii Stars. Pacific starters Logan Odom was more than solid, improving to 3-0 with a 2.97 ERA. He gave up just 6 hits and 4 walks over 7 2/3 innings while striking out 9. About Odom's performance, Pacific's manager Ryan Pretty said, "They don't know what to expect. Odom went out there and pitched his game and threw first pitch strikes, and they really didn't have an answer for him."
Hawaii certainly got shut down, but a slew of defensive mistakes didn't help either. In the bottom of the 4th, with Danny Gonzalez at the plate, a pass ball allowed Kyle Donani to get to 3rd. And then Gonzalez sent the very next pitch into left for a single, getting the Pacifics on the board. The Stars hurt themselves again in the bottom of the 7th, when Price Kendall's center field single was fielded and thrown wildly home, scoring ranking. The defense was so unpredictable that even our camera crew was a bit confused.
The Pacifics held on to the shutout for a 4-0 win, improving their division record to 22-6. That's it for this TV game recap. I'm Janet McCarroll.
And I'm Sam Bella. You can find our live TV schedule online at cmcm.tv/camp, and also learn more about this sports broadcasting training program. See you next time.
Back here at Albert Park, and the 1-0 is taken low for a ball. And I'm joined now by Chris Franklin, the wife of the pitcher for the East Bay Lumberjacks, Wayne Franklin. Chris, you're also a part owner of the East Bay Jacks, and thank you for joining us.
Of course, thank you for having us.
And for those watching at home, also to my left, if you can see him in your screen there, is Tom McCarr. He's the president and general manager. First off, I'd like to say congratulations on landing Steven Detweiler, a big transaction for you guys.
It was. It's been a great season for us, and we're looking forward to doing even more. Next year, we're going to have our own homestand, and we're going to have an East Bay permanent location, and it's going to be really exciting.
3-2 is just low, and Taylor, the leadoff batter, will work the walk.
Lumberjacks, right fielder.
You say a permanent home, and if fans don't know, the Lumberjacks are a traveling team this year and weren't actually in the league to begin with. It's something that has just happened pretty late into the season, so to speak. But now you guys full-fledged members and looking to join the league and really start moving forward after this season.
We are. It sort of all fell together. Tom initially had the Lumberjacks as a semi-pro team, and Wayne, my husband, was playing on it. They're all just a bunch of really good guys having a lot of fun. And then it turned out that Wayne played with was associated with the Dodgers with the commissioner of the Pacific League, and they've got in contact and decided to put together something a little better.
Steve Detweiler, the newest addition to the East Bay Lumberjacks, digs in and goes ahead and takes a strike against his former teammate Ben Whitmore. Steve, who was traded this morning, the most recent transaction, and you guys got yourself one heck of a hitter.
Yeah, Tom's been working on that pretty hard. Tom and Wayne have known each other for about 4 years and been doing have a great time with the Lumberjacks.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, if I could talk about Steve a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this Pacifics Ball Club just has an amazing lineup. And so Steve, I mean, a fantastic hitter, just wasn't getting enough at-bats. And so we actually traded 2 extremely good pitchers, AJ Gallardo and Dan Rogers, for Steve. We're looking for a little bit more thunder from the right side. Obviously, this is our first year in the league. We're still trying to develop our hitters, trying to get a little more consistency with our offense. So stick Steve right in the middle of that order, and I think good things can happen.
Talking to Tom Akari, President and General Manager of the East Bay Lumberjacks, and he's speaking on the transaction they just completed, the trade for Steven Detweiler. And you mentioned the 2 pitchers that the Pacifics received were Dan Rogers and AJ Gallardo, who it was for future considerations. Well, it turns out Steve was that future consideration, and you mentioned giving an opportunity for him to play, and speak on how much that means as he grounds it to second. Price over to Denani for 1, back to first, and a double play, 2 down just like that as Whitmore gets the best of his former teammate. But that's a guy, Detweiler's not only a great player, but he's a guy that has been around the game and a veteran presence, and an overall good guy that understands what's going on here in indie ball.
Yeah, you know what else he provides? Obviously, he was the MVP of the 2008 College World Series when Fresno State, I believe they won the whole thing, and he was obviously the MVP. And so he's played in big games. He's played in front of big crowds. A lot of our guys, obviously Wayne played Major League Baseball. He's played in front of a bunch of big crowds, and we have some other guys who played affiliated ball. But a lot of our guys didn't get the chance to play in front of big crowds, and they might get a little bit intimidated playing in front of a crowd like this. So someone like Steve who's been there, he's done that, he's not going to be phased. So aside from just what he provides on the field, I think he can also provide a little bit of leadership for the guys off the field. And I'm sure right now in the dugout he's kind of giving us a scouting report on the pitcher, and maybe kind of talking to them about how to keep their calm, how to play hard, even in their tense situations here.
Whitmore's 0-2 to Rudy White is fouled straight back into the screen, and we'll do it again. White hitting .250 on the season, with 2 down here in the top of the second inning. No score between East Bay and San Rafael. Tom, you mentioned how these guys are young and getting their feet wet here in professional baseball, and as a first-year team, as Whitmore delivers the pitch up and away for a ball, 1-2. Talk a little bit about what is this going to do for the future of this ball club?
Absolutely. A big reason we wanted to get involved with the league this year, we're pretty realistic. We knew we'd probably struggle, but the experience we're going to gain will really help us for next year.
Whitmore gets Rudy White to strike out. Matt Cavanaugh throws down to first to complete the strikeout. Tom, if you don't mind sticking around for a couple more innings, and we'd like to talk more about the Lumberjacks, the newest transactions, and the rest of what the future holds, if you don't mind holding on.
My favorite topic.
All right, guys, you're listening to San Rafael Pacific's Baseball, and we're watching it here on Marin TV.
We believe media should reflect the community that it serves.
That media can foster community development.
That media can create a space for public discourse and government transparency.
We believe
media can educate
and inform.
That there needs to be
more local media.
Local media made
by your fellow residents
and neighbors.
That this media should be made by and for people.
And not corporations just seeking profits.
We believe
TV
can still be worth saving.
And that it begins here at the Community Media Center of Marin.
Support our efforts, support your community, and donate now.
Bottom of the second inning here at San Rafael, California. Hunter Hornstein here with Chris Franklin and Tom Akari, 2 members of the front office from the East Bay Lumberjacks. And Chris, you are the wife of Wayne Franklin, who's the starting pitcher and the big leaguer. And so far, so good.
So far, so good. Yeah. We tease him a little bit that he's the old man out there. He takes a lot of grief around the house.
Wayne, though, does know how to pitch and set down the Pacifics pretty easily. Got around the one-out single by Hova. And he will face Kyle Donani, Derek Hale, and Matt Kavanaugh to start off this bottom of the second inning.
Arika Calfan and Lucy Goldman, please head down to the Pacific's dugout for the musical chairs contest. Quinn McCarthy, Caitlin McCarthy,
And Tom,
Arika
you and I were
Calfan,
talking right before
Lucy Goldman.
we had to go to that break and before the inning was over about how great it is to have a guy like Steve who's a winner. With this team, the Lumberjacks, there have been some growing pains, obviously. What is the key to move past that, and how important is it to move past that?
Well, if you don't mind, I'd like to talk about the growing pains a little bit first. So, from our point of view, we could either come in from scratch next year. It's one thing to watch a game, but it's a whole other thing to play against the talent, get a feel for what caliber of player you need to be competitive. And there have been just a ton of, not only getting a feel for the competition, but also running the business and also all the things that go on to run a game, to run a home game. So we feel like, even though obviously we've taken our lumps, with the record, and even though, there's been some growing pains, just what we've picked up and just what we've learned, I think we'd have that much more of an advantage next year as opposed to just starting from scratch, right?
Franklin's 1-1 to Donani is a little bit inside for a ball, 2-1. Donani playing shortstop today. We mentioned Danny Gonzalez, the usual shortstop, was a late scratch in the clubhouse for manager Ryan Purdy. So it's Donani over there who's just as sure-handed as Gonzalez is. Great defense for the Pacifics, and he takes the pitch away. It's 3-1. And you talk about what the next steps are. You've made the moves to get those players. You guys have a Justin James. You have a Steve Detweiler. Moving forward and into next year when you guys are have a permanent home and things are a little less hectic, so to speak, the baseball moves. What comes next?
Absolutely. Well, I think as we know, great things come to pass with a bunch of little tiny baby steps, right? So picking up a Steve Detweiler, picking up a Justin James, improving our defense. So I think it's going to be a culmination of many small steps. Now, obviously, during this off season, we'll get a chance to, reach out to college seniors. We'll get a chance to scout out younger and more experienced talent, and I think we'll have more of an off season to prep for next year as opposed to kind of jumping in half season like this year.
Donani works the walk from Franklin. That'll bring up Derek Hale. Playing third base tonight, and Hale is a guy who's pretty much played all over the place. He's played short, second, first, now third. He even can play the outfield and primarily DH. There he goes, wipes out the chalk line in the left-handed batter's box and digs in all the way to the back. So it's a leadoff walk for Sanderfeld. No score here in the bottom of the second inning between the Lumberjacks and the Pacifics. A Game 3 of a 3-game set. And Tom, I was talking to some of your players before the game, and after a lopsided defeat like last night, it seems just it was almost I don't want to say wake-up call because these guys don't need that, but it was somewhat of kind of an eye-opening experience where, yeah, we are all of a sudden playing against guys that are very good at this game.
All proceeds.
I hate to say it, but I think last night was a wake-up call. We'd played a bunch of really competitive games against Hawaii, and every game we played had been pretty close. Some of them had gotten a little bit out of hand really late in the game, but I kind of feel like the guys perhaps got a little bit flat-footed yesterday.
Hale hits it in the air to left center field. Justin James over to make the play, and he almost ran into his left fielder, Rudy White there. A little miscommunication, but no harm done as the out is recorded. One down in the bottom of the second. That'll bring up Matt Kavanaugh, recently reactivated from the inactive list. Kavanaugh, who injured his hamstring playing against Vallejo at Wilson Park, was out for nearly 3.5 weeks, is finally seeing his first action. And Kavanaugh's a guy that was on your team for a little bit.
He was for a day. We played a really competitive team called the Reno Astros on Saturday. And with the help of Matt, we actually got off to a tidy 19-1 lead against them. So we could attest to his talent. Yeah, he was driving the ball pretty hard and helped us out a little bit.
Franklin goes over and checks on Donani, the runner at first base.
think the other thing that's going to be, just to backtrack a minute, other thing's going to be exciting about having our own home stand is just we can also be able to have a place to have tryouts, and we can also look for players that might have, like, you know, some home team appeal. You know, maybe there's players that are from the area or have some tie to the area. There's going to be there will be a lot changes, but they'll all be for the better.
Denani goes ahead and runs. The throw down to second base on a hop is not in time. Denani steals it.
And we'll probably, you know, keep the semi-pro portion of the team as well. So it'll be kind of a nice thing, if you kind of like a farm situation, right? So people can come up and come down.
And talk a little bit about how that's kind of the flexibility between them. We mentioned the transactions and trades between these two teams, picking up players and giving them to another team, letting them play, and it almost is, like you said, it is almost like a farm system where kind of groom players to move up.
It is, and I think the goal of this league, the Pacifics, is to really to blossom and to become much more substantial, starting with Northern California and then starting to move down deeper into California south. And I think next year there's going to be a few more teams added to the league, which will really add a lot more excitement and fun to all the games and the fans. And we can start to create more rivalries and, you know, just have fun with it.
You mentioned the homestands. What locations or what venues have you been looking as Kavanaugh goes ahead and takes a ball up away?
Oh, we're looking at 2 specific towns right now, but I don't know if we can say them on the air right now because we're in discussions with 2 cities. Our goal is to have one for sure. We will have one location for sure. They will be in the East Bay, and we'll have one location for sure next year, and possibly 2 the year after.
You mentioned, Tom, it's those baby steps and setting a solid foundation for the long-term stability as Kavanaugh goes ahead and takes a strike. It's now 2-2.
Yeah, absolutely. What's interesting too, I think Chris might have mentioned that what we might do is create a new franchise in the East Bay and maybe keep possibly the Lumberjacks as sort of a feeder team to our pro team next year. You know, that way we can take a look at new players. You know, if someone's hurt, they can get some rehab time in. So we're going to try to take advantage of that. You know, with one thing we found with pro ball is there's a lot of talent out there. And sometimes it's tough to take a really good look at them. You get some pitchers and maybe they throw a bullpen for you, but you want to take a look at them in a game situation. So we think obviously we're going to have our pro team in the East Bay, but on top of that, you know, perhaps maybe we do keep, you know, sort of this type of team as a minor league team for us.
Because we don't want to lose our roots with the semi-pro team. I mean, there's guys that have been with the team forever. They love the team. It's really fun. And if the, you know, that might be where they want to, what fits their schedule better, their lifestyle, and their commitment better. So we don't want to lose that.
Bottom of the second inning, 3-2 to Matt Kavanaugh. No score here at Albert Park. Game 3 of a 3-game set. The Pacifics won the first 2-1, looking to win the third. As Kavanaugh swings away and lifts it down the left field line, racing over and giving it a look is White, but he's going to go ahead and let it go into the parking lot out there. And the whole feeder team situation, if some fans aren't aware, what that means is you guys are giving players who might be injured, who might be working their way up to try to get into affiliated ball, but just for whatever reason haven't cracked that roster, lack of spots or what have you. But again, it's all about the opportunity for these players.
Oh, absolutely. I think, you know, there have been plenty of players that go from this league and even some of the previous leagues, like the Golden Baseball League, into affiliated pro ball as well. And so this is going to be a nice step for them. And yeah, and we've got a lot of talent on our roster, and I imagine next year we'll add even more. So yeah, we'll have kind of our own small minor league team, and then obviously we'll have our pro team. And you know, it would be pretty exciting if some of our pro guys move on and we can see them in the major leagues.
When you talk about your farm team, is that necessarily restricted to just your pro team, or is that something that's going to be open to all the rest of the teams in the league to reap the benefits of?
Oh, we got time to figure that out.
Yeah. We definitely haven't sorted that out yet.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Kavanaugh works the walk, and that brings up Matt Quintero. So 2 Matts in a row, this one batting from the right side, and he goes ahead and takes the first pitch strike. And Wayne looked like he put a little bit of juice on that last pitch.
Yeah.
I think he hides it in the back pocket. I think really smart pitchers, I think they have multiple fastballs.
0-1 is lined in the left field. It's going to get down for a base hit. Denani will be waved home. The Pacific strike first. It's 1-0 in the second.
Yes, sir. That safe at home moment is brought to you by Marin, lock and safe.
So Quintero singles. Denani scores. Quintero for him. His 10th RBI of the season. Came into this game hitting .250. But he's able to cash in there against Franklin and the Lumberjacks. Give the Pacifics a quick 1-0 lead, and here's Zach Pace.
Zach Pace.
Yeah, you know, one great thing about having Wayne on the mound, that last hit notwithstanding. No, you know, the great thing about Wayne, I mean, he's pitched in front of 50,000 people before. He's not going to get rattled. He's going to keep his composure. Look at that, ground ball. Ooh, come on. Well, it looks like Wayne got the ground ball he needed. Looks like we have a little bit of a bobble there by second base, but you can just tell Wayne got the ground ball he needed, kept his composure, kept the ball down, and so he's not going to be phased by giving up a run or two or playing in front of 1,000 people.
Stephen Flynn over at second base. He'll be charged with the error on the ground ball from Pace. The bases are now loaded with only one down. And the lineup will get turned over, and here's Bryce Kendall. He flew out to center field last time up, but Kendall, a guy who can hit the grand slam. He's hit 2 already, 1 in Maui and 1 as recently as last night, and here he's up with an opportunity to potentially do it again.
Well, you know, some players, you know, maybe they struggle and they're due for a big hit. Some players are so hot, maybe they're due for a ground out. So hopefully the latter's the case.
Franklin's first pitch is up and away for a ball, and didn't look like he liked that pitch. Shaking his head, but like you mentioned, Tom, regaining that composure, and this is a guy, a veteran, 6 years in the big leagues from 2000 to 2006, including one with the Giants. Doesn't necessarily get rattled that easily. And the pitch to Kendall is lined in the left field. That's a base hit. Here comes Kavanaugh. He's going to score. James picks it up. The runners will move station to station. It's 2-0 San Rafael in the second.
Sir, that safe at home moment once again brought to you by Marin, lock and safe.
Bryce Kendall.
And the
Not really
RBI
good hit,
is sponsored by Hitman
but
Pest
some
Control.
of our players have just had it up to their heads with him because he's just making all kinds of plays at second base, whipping that ball to first, making diving plays. He's probably stolen 2 or 3 hits from us just in the last couple days, and kind of frustrating our guys.
Now batting for your Pacifics.
Kendall, a guy who will talk a lot on the base pass as well. Likes to have fun. Rarely see him without a smile. Here's Chase Fontaine. And again, a lefty-lefty matchup with the bases loaded. And still an opportunity to get out of this inning. With only 1 down, Franklin can get the double play and limit the damage, and the pitch is up and in, and it hit him. Off of the hand, that will force in a run. Quintero will score. And Fontaine's going ahead and chirping over at home plate, but with the bases loaded, you got to think that pitch isn't up and in intentional. There's no reason that Franklin wants to hit the batter.
Yeah, I feel pretty confident saying the last thing that Wayne wants to do right now is hit someone to bring a run. I feel pretty confident saying that. You know, I think something that's apparent, you know, one thing we're going to work on next year is just working on the defense. You know, it's one thing to have solid defensive players, but you got to practice every day. You got to get the reps in. That's a little bit of a challenge for us this year. Next year we'll really get a lot more ground balls, a lot more reps in. So that way we're turning that double play. Now we're looking at 1 run instead of having this situation 1 out, 3 runs in.
I would say that's kind of a challenge for the whole team across the board, is with not having a spot to play, not having a place to go practice. They really don't practice, and so I mean, it's, you know, it's a team under development for sure. And I would say even the people with the most experience, I mean, I know my husband, in fact, I mean, you know, he's working, he's doing all kinds of things. We have family, kids.
Grounds it to the left side. Nice play there by the shortstop. A long throw to first and safe. Hova beats it out. That forces in Pace, and it's 3-0.
So I think having a homestand, having a place where the guys can come together, having a place where they can really become more of a team will really go a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to kind of emphasize what you're saying. I think it's also key just to get a number of games in together.
Brought to you by Marin.
We've had a little bit of a chopped up schedule. We haven't got a chance to play a lot of games together. Hawaii, we got that chance, but we were able to send the entire team. So this is really the first time we've got the entire team playing together as a team. So now it's, I think, just a matter of getting those reps in, getting those games in. You know, I think that'll help us kind of clean up the defense and just get us playing as a team a little bit more.
Ronnie Woodard steps in. He's 0 for 1 and takes the first pitch up and away. You mentioned that new schedule, and for those of our fans who are fans of the Pacifics and of East Bay Lumberjacks, these two teams will meet again on Tuesday for just a quick one game. So the schedule does get jumbled around a little bit. Independent minor league baseball, you see these types of things as Woodard takes the pitch away and it's a ball 2-0. But these two clubs will get together one more time for one game on July 7th. And that's a game in which Steve Detweiler is probably going to get a start.
That's right. So next Tuesday, we're going to see what Detweiler's got. I believe he's got a great knuckleball. He knows the hitters. And we're going to see what he can do. And that'll give us a chance to evaluate if he's going to be a better fit for us in the rotation or a better fit in the bullpen. And it's true. On Tuesday, we only have one game with the Pacifics, but yet it's still going to be a full 6-game week. So it'll give us a chance, get a lot of reps, get a lot of innings in as a team. And I think our goal is, leading up to playoffs, we want to get a bunch of games in our belt, a bunch of games playing together. And ideally, we just want to try to get hot and become a cohesive group before playoffs start.
Beautiful stop by Brad Shannon, the catcher. And the pitch down in the dirt. 3 balls, 1 strike, so nowhere to put Woodard if you're to walk him. The Pacifics have scored 4 so far this inning. And it's really just been station to station. Base hit here, a hit batter, and another base hit on what could have been a ground ball double play, like you mentioned, Tom, by Stephen Flynn. And it's the little things that escalates for this team. Here's the 3-1 fastball, just misses, and it'll force in another run.
You know, baseball is a funny sport, and really the small single plays can have a pretty big impact. You know, if Flynn's able to field that cleanly, turn double play, they've only scored 1 run, and now we're looking at 5 runs in and in a pretty tough spot here.
Roland Nazar, the manager for East Bay, going out and speaking with his left-handed hitter. And what's the biggest challenge for right now with being that traveling team and at the same time trying to make sure this season goes smoothly, but at the same time, and this is probably more of a business question, you guys are trying to think ahead and work ahead for next season as well. So basically, it's juggling 2 seasons at once.
We are, because it's a lot of work to get a team started. You know, you've got to negotiate with the city, you've got to raise the money to get the stadium built, you've got to get it approved within the community that it's in, which involves a lot of businesses and the surrounding areas, and then get it built at the same time that this team is in motion and doing all of what they need to do too. So it is a lot of things to juggle, but it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun.
I'm going to ask you a baseball question here. If you're going out on the coaching visit to the mound, what are you saying to your husband right now?
Well, I might be biased, but I think I was wondering about a few of those calls, the last few calls, and I think everyone was. Look, I saw a couple of the other infield kind of saying the same thing as where is the strike zone. So I think probably just say, hey, blow it off and get back to it.
Pacifics have batted around here in the second inning as Kyle Donani digs in for his second AB of the inning. He walked, and that started this whole 5-run rally the Pacifics have going. And Donani, leading the team in average, takes the first pitch low, hitting .328. And I think by just looking at these teams, and granted, the Lumberjacks weren't the professional team that they are now going into this year, as Donani skies one into right field. Racing over is Steve Detweiler. He looks and will not make a play. But granted, the Lumberjacks were semi-pro at the time. They were not in the league. They were playing sporadically against the Pacifics, who were the professional team. So you're almost behind the 8 ball in the sense of players and their ability.
Yeah, fair enough. And Chris, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to say real quick, all of our players, we realize that the other team's got a head start. We kind of realize where we're at. Our goal is, we've got about 20, 25 games before playoffs start. We just want to take this time to gel as a team, see a lot of pitches, and ideally, hopefully we get right at we get hot at the right time, and maybe we can make some noise in playoffs, and that'd be ideal, because, it is pretty tough right now. Everyone else has played a good 30, 40 games, and they've been seeing 90-plus miles an hour, and, but when we don't play these pro teams, before we made the jump, we're seeing guys throwing 80, 85, and there's a big difference. So we're still getting a little bit more acclimated to seeing this quicker play, faster pitching, this tougher opponent.
I think it's even more than that. I just think it's experience on the field. I mean, we've got guys on the team. In fact, we've got a lot of guys out there now who, have played a handful of games in the last 2 months. That's tough. So we need to get in there and change that.
And by no means are we saying that the Lumberjacks are any less competitive. I mean, this is a team that beat the San Rafael Pacifics in spring training. They do have a win under their belt, so they're capable of doing that. It's just about limiting the mistakes. This pitch is hit in the air to deep left field, up and gone. Home run for Kyle Donani, and he has cleared them all. A grand slam for Kyle. 2 games in a row for the Pacifics with a grand slam. Donani, his 6th home run of the season. And just like that, San Rafael has broken it open. It's 9-0.
It just goes to show, if you make your plays, turn a double play, you score 1 run. And what's funny about baseball, it's a game you have to play every single day. It is definitely a game of repetition. And, I think what'll happen is in the coming weeks, after playing, 6 games in a row and then playing 12 games in 13 days, we'll start to get the reps in, and we'll be a lot more crisp on defense and start to eliminate some of these booted balls and some of these errors, and suddenly we're going to have a whole lot more success.
Fontaine, Hovo, and Woodard score ahead of Donani, as the Pacifics have put up a 9-run second, and they've only done it with 5 hits. Here's Derek Hale, who takes the first pitch strike from Franklin.
One of the biggest things you learn about playing the Pacifics is you cannot give good teams like this second chances. Kind of learning that the hard way right now, and that seems to be one of the biggest differences at this level.
Hale, as Tom was speaking, took ball 1, and it's a 1-1 count. Still just 1 out here in this bottom of the 2nd inning. Hunter Hornstein alongside Tom McCary, who is the president and general manager of the East Bay Lumberjacks and really does the baseball operations. And Mrs. Franklin, you do more of the business operations, as well as Rudon, of course, your husband out there on the mound, Wayne.
Exactly.
2-2 to Hale, who's playing third base today. Hale, a guy, like we mentioned earlier, hits all over the diamond, hits all over the order, was a member of that 2012 Pacifics Championship team, and takes a called third strike on the outside corner. Hale shakes his head as he walks by, but it's 2 outs nonetheless for Franklin and the Lumberjacks.
Well, if there's a small consolation, it's only the 2nd. So there is time to score some runs and hopefully generate some momentum here.
Stranger things have happened. There's plenty of baseball left. Only in the 2nd inning, 2 down, and that will bring up Matt Kavanaugh.
This is one of those times you're glad there isn't a shot clock and there isn't, the end of a quarter. That we have to play all 9 innings.
Kavanaugh grounds it over to first. It's taken easily by Andre White, who will solo to the bag for the 3 unassisted putout, and that will do it Franklin, though, gives up 9. The Pacifics have a big second inning and now lead 9-0. We head to the third. You're watching Marin Television.
What has CMCM given to me?
The Marin Community Media Center is a place where I get to be creative.
CMCM has allowed our youth to participate in filming community events.
Extraordinarily high quality training. I'm more engaged in the community.
You get to meet all kinds of people. It really fulfills me.
It's a very, very supportive environment. Community media is about us. Community media is about you.
Where it's our voice.
We are the voice of the people.
Without community media, where's the local voice? Where's the local diversity?
If we want to see this happening and continuing as such a great service, we need to support it.
Support your local media center because you'll be a better citizen if you do. Support your local media center because your ideas matter.
Because it's important for our youth.
Because it's vital.
Because it's invaluable.
Thanks for joining us and holding on with us, fans. Looks like we're back. We are in the top of the third inning. It's 9-0 San Rafael after a huge second inning. Joined by Tom McCary, president and general manager of the East Bay Jacks, and Chris Franklin, who also is part of the ownership group. 9-0 here, 1-2 to Dwight Hardy.
Am I going to tell you a bit about Dwight Hardy?
Absolutely, go ahead, sir.
Dwight Hardy was a 4-year football player at Washington State. He was their starting running back. He's got a big profile page on ESPN.com. If you have a little free time, Google him. It's very interesting. After he finished his football career, he wanted to get back into baseball. He played a couple years of junior college baseball. He was all conference, had some great seasons, and now he's made the jump to pro ball. And physically, he's as fast as anyone. He's got the tools.
Batting for the Lumberjacks,
now it's time for him to get some reps in and see some pitching at this level. And we're pretty hopeful that he can actually have a pretty promising career.
It'll be left-handed hitter Joe Whittick, the shortstop for San Rafael. After the 2-out walk to Tardy, Whitmore's first pitch to Whittick is right down the middle for a strike.
Joe Whittick, if you don't mind if I say a couple of words about him, he's our starting shortstop. We've recently acquired him before the Hawaii series. I believe he hit well over 300 at Hawaii. Also had a couple of doubles a couple nights ago for us. So I believe he's still hitting over 300 and having a lot of success, and probably one of our better hitters right now.
Whittick, a local guy from Sonoma, California, just up the road a little bit, went to Sonoma High School. Runner goes, and it's swung on and tapped out to center field and a base hit. Tardy will go to third as he was running on the play, and all of a sudden the Lumberjacks have runners on the corners with only 2 outs.
Well, there you go. Joe showing some good back control, goes right back up the middle. Looks like he got a change up there and stuck with it, and
number 3,
took to the center, and looks like now we have a little threat going, so I'll take that.
That'll bring up Stephen Flynn, the second baseman, with a chance here to drive in the first run for East Bay. Runners on the corners, 2 down. Top of the third inning, it's 9-0 San Rafael.
Poor Stephen Flynn yesterday. Had a couple of should have been base knocks up the middle, and Bryce Kendall wasn't having it. Made a nice diving stop and showed off a good strong arm and actually robbed poor Steve a couple times. Steve's got a good short swing, makes a lot of contact, gets the ball up the middle, and I think he's been a great number 2 hitter for us. Once again, just a matter of seeing more pitches, getting more reps in. So I do feel confident that in a couple of weeks from now, after having played a couple of weeks of just regular everyday play, that our guys are just going to get used to seeing the faster pitches, going to get used to seeing the sharper breaking balls, and just going to start making more contacts, just getting more confidence.
Pitch to Flynn is up and away for a ball. 2-0.
You know, the funny thing also about baseball, it's a game about having confidence. You know, about a month ago, we came into Albert Park and not having played many games, and you know, you get off to a good start. You know, there's a big play, maybe a big hit here or there, and the guys play with a little bit more confidence. And you know, I think with that, they put a little bit more effort into it, run a little bit harder, work a little bit harder to get the play done. And you know, that night we're able to, you know, get it done and play hard. And you know, I think it started off with just getting some confidence starting the game and just keeping it going. So I think now the trick is to learn to stay consistent and to learn how to stay confident even when we run into some adversity.
Pitch up and away to Flynn, and it's 3-0. And Whitmore's having a little bit of trouble finding the strike zone, even after having a conference with his catcher, Matt Kavanaugh.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe we can draw a walk here, load the bases, and we've got our best hitter coming up. We've got Justin James, who's right now second in the league in hitting. He was hitting about 325 or so, maybe 320, and you never know. You know, baseball's a funny game. It's 9 full innings, and you never know what can happen here.
The 3-1 to Flynn is in the dirt, and a walk to Flynn, and that'll load the bases for East Bay with Justin James coming up, who hit the 2-run home run and could be considered the top hitters, if not the top hitter
for the Lumberjacks
in the Pacific
18,
Association.
Justin James.
Yeah, exactly. Last night hit a big 2-run homer, and you never know about baseball. You say he gets into one here and drives in some runs. Suddenly, you know, breathe a little life into the team, and you just never know when a rally can be born, and that's just how it goes. Just got to ride the momentum and stay confident.
And the home run that James hit last night wasn't a cheap one. It's a deep right center field, and that's triples territory, and it's tough to get a big poke out there. Pitching coach Jeff Russell will go ahead and make a visit to the mound and try to calm down his lefty. Whitmore, a guy that's not going to overpower, but if he doesn't find his spots, can run into trouble, and it looks like it might be. And you know, you never know, but the long inning that the Pacific's had and a lot of sitting, it's not as warm or humid as it was the other nights. That arm might be getting a little cold, a little stiff, and might take him a little bit to try to find the strike zone again.
You know, after a long inning, the very small, faint silver lining might be that the pitcher may have gotten a little cold. Maybe that opens up a little bit of opportunity. Maybe it's not quite as sharp. And, you know, in a perfect world, maybe we get a big hit here and make it interesting. You know, get back in the game and get some momentum going.
It'll be lefty against lefty as James digs in with 2 outs and the bases loaded against Whitmore.
You know, and just kind of talking about how it's a bunch of big steps. You know, we didn't have James a couple weeks ago. We didn't have Detweiler. And just little by little, you improve the team here and there. And after, once again, just a bunch of small steps, you know, before you know it, we've made some strides forward and working towards getting a little more competitive here.
The 1-0 from Whitmore is taken for a strike, and Whitmore, who his last start against Maui, 7 innings pitched, 5 runs, only 4 earned, was backed up tremendously by his offense as the Pacifics went on to win that game 15-6 as the ball's fouled down the left field line, strike 2. But the biggest thing for Whitmore was there was no walks in the game, and he let his defense worked very quickly, and you go out there, play catch as a pitcher, and you're usually going to be successful. You don't fall into these lulls or let hitters take advantage of that. The 1-2 is in the dirt, a nice stop by Kavanaugh. Count evened up 2-2 with 2 outs here in the 3rd inning.
You know, it's interesting. You look at a really good polished hitter like Justin James, who I believe is the son of Deion James, right? He used to play for the Yankees. I have his baseball card. I'm pretty sure he is. But you know, you can tell he's relaxed up there. He's got 2 strikes, but he's ready to swing and going to give it a nice, nice solid stroke with a nice balanced approach there.
Whitmore gets the ground ball, but there's nobody covering first, and the inning will continue. It looked like Woodard and Whitmore might have gotten crossed up there. James with the half swing, and Whitmore tardy at covering the bag, a little late.
Now batting
crossed up in
Lumberjacks,
between, and all of a
26,
sudden the Lumberjacks are on the board, and the inning continues.
It doesn't hurt to be blazing fast, huh? Man.
That speed.
Yeah, Justin James, he can hit with power, he's got speed, he can play defense, he's got a good arm. I'll take him.
On the play, Tardy scores. He's forced in. Everyone moves up 90 feet, and the bases are still loaded for Mike Taylor.
Well, we'll see what happens. Mike's our cleanup hitter. Got a pretty good look at that pitch. He's gone through the order once. Everyone's got a look at him, and who knows, maybe get a little rally going here.
Whitmore doesn't like the ball, asks for a new one.
You know, Mike Taylor might have had our most exciting moment of the year. The Vallejo Admirals hosted us for their opening day, and Mike had a big grand slam to tie it up.
Ground ball into right field for Taylor, and that's a base hit and an RBI. As Whittick scores, and it's 9-2, and the runners go station to station. East Bay with a little bit of rally going, and the base is loaded for the big man, newly acquired Steven Detweiler.
You know, this will be a fun debut, huh? Let's see if Detweiler can get into one and make a little splash on his first game with us.
Batting for the Lumberjacks, number 28, Steve Detweiler.
Detweiler, who grounded out into the 4-6-3 double play last time out. As everyone knows, has the huge power. Didn't get a whole lot of playing time with the Pacifics. Was traded today to East Bay to complete the transactions for Dan Rogers and left-handed pitcher A.J. Gallardo. Those two were traded for future considerations. Detweiler, being that future consideration, swings away and hits it down the right field line. It'll get up and out of play, and it's 1-1.
You know, it's funny to listen to Tom. You talk about the baby steps and all the little acquisitions and the new players and all the little things happening. And then I look at, my focus is really tomorrow. I'm working on the new homestand, the new field, and what's going to happen with the new team. And it just kind of brings me back to what they've done here in San Rafael with the Pacifics. They've done a great job.
1-1, and Detweiler fouls it off his ankle, goes straight down.
He's smiling. That's good.
Yeah.
Has a chuckle about it with Kavanaugh, but on a cold night like this, that ball hitting your ankle bone does not feel too good.
No,
He's not wearing a brace. That's not feeling good at all.
And Detweiler, who always takes those big hacks as well, isn't going to get cheated. The Pacific's trainer, Jesse Mazza, goes out there and makes sure Det's okay. And that's just a matter of walking it off. Detweiler, who appeared in 14 games for San Rafael, hit 160 with a home run off the bench in a pinch hit opportunity. And could you imagine what would happen if he goes deep here?
That would be fun, making a 3-run game. I would take that. I'd take a base hit, cut that score in half.
And Tom, you know the old cliche that I hate to use, it's never over till it's over, and the 1-2 is fouled down the right field line. We'll do it again, but it is. It's never over till it's over, and you a couple of hits away from making it again, like you said, a 1-run game and being right back into it.
Baseball is a funny game like that. You just really don't know until the very last inning.
Yeah, it's great. We're not playing 15-minute quarters. There's no time that's going to run out. You got to play all 9 innings. You got all 27 outs, and that's a lot of opportunity for things to happen, huh?
9-2 in the top of the third. Bases loaded, 2 outs for the Lumberjacks, and Detweiler at the plate.
Oh.
Snap throw down to first, not in time.
That was pretty close. I got nervous.
Detweiler took the pitch low for a ball, and Matt Kavanaugh tried to throw it down and pick off Mike Taylor, who was leaning off the bag and was nearly picked off. A nice stop by first baseman Johnny Woodard to make sure that ball didn't go into right field. Meanwhile, it's a 2-2 count with 2 outs, 9-2, Pacific's lead. Detweiler traded earlier this morning. In his second at-bat, 0 for 1 so far today. Whitmore winds and delivers, and it's a ground ball up the middle, but there's Kendall, who goes ahead and goes to the short way to Denani at short for the force out. Mike Taylor forced out for out number 3. The Lumberjacks are on the board, though. 2 runs in the inning, but they leave them loaded. You're watching Pacific's Baseball on Marin TV.
Including San Rafael and Nevada for all your
It would have been nice if we could have done a little bit more with that.
You know, you get a big hit right there. It's 9-4. Suddenly it's interesting.
I'm Laura Valadeo, and I teach the field camera class at CMCM. In this class, you'll learn how to operate our Sony Z5 cameras, shooting onto both card and tape with automatic and manual settings, as well as how to tell your stories visually. People from all different backgrounds take the camera class. Some have no prior experience, while others are industry professionals looking to become up to date on new technology. I love teaching this class because it allows me to give people the creative and technical tools that they need to tell their stories. To find out when the next field camera class is scheduled, go to our website at www.cmcm.tv.
What's at stake today?
Playoffs.
Yeah?
And we're in. No, it's the last game of the season.
Who are you playing?
Oakland. We've beat them once in the past 4 years. But that was the last time we played them.
Everyone knows who they're playing, right?
Everybody's stretched.
No lineup card. How you feel, Butch? Good.
You have all your good players?
Most of them.
Who's missing?
Well, we had a guy last year, Grit, who came out from New York. He played with us. And he pitched. And he really helped out. We'll see.
Pacifics lead 9-2 as we enter the bottom of the third inning. Wayne Franklin out there for his third inning of work. He will face Matt Quintero, Zach Pace, and Bryce Kendall at the top of the order. If anybody gets on, Chase Fontaine. Quintero with the RBI single his last time up would eventually come around and score one of the 9 runs the Pacifics put up in the second. Franklin's first pitch is swung on and missed as Quintero fooled badly there, was probably looking for that first pitch fastball. Instead, Franklin, with all that big league experience, pulled the string, 0-1. And another swing and a miss, and Quintero down in the count 0-2.
Hunter, one thing that's encouraging for me is our manager, Roland Nazar, he participates in junior college, so he has a really good relationship.
It's popped in the air down the right field line, and it'll just get out of play as it lands just shy of Jane's First Base Cafe on the right side.
So he has a really good relationship with a lot of these coaches in these 4-year schools. So these 4-year schools have these seniors that maybe just missed the draft and want to play independent ball, and we're going to get first crack at them because of a good relationship that Roland has with these coaches.
Roland Nazar, the manager of the East Bay Lumberjacks, also works in construction along with being a coach at San Francisco Community College. Matt Quintero, as you see there, hitting .250 on the season.
So the funny thing about it, he becomes a perfect guy for us because he's working with these 4-year school coaches who have all these seniors who are graduating. And so with that good relationship, now we have, a nice inside track to, these players that might be a perfect fit for this league. So I think we're going to take full advantage of that next year as we put our team together. And it's going to start this fall.
Quintero's taken a couple of good pitches from Franklin and has worked the count to 2-2. As he leads off this bottom of the third inning. Next pitch inside, strike 3 called as Franklin sets down Quintero looking. That'll bring up Zach Pace, who reached on the error by the second baseman. Really the error by Flynn that opened the floodgates, so to speak, in that second inning.
Zach Pace, I think it's safe to say that might have been the biggest moment of the game right there.
Franklin, with 2 strikeouts so far tonight, will work lefty on lefty against Pace in a 9-2 ball game, and the first pitch is in there for a strike.
Is one of the eligible Pacifics players that you
Hunter Hornstein joined by Tom McCary and Chris Franklin.
To the front gate and put your bid in the silent auction.
Glad you're tuned in wherever you may be listening, whether it's on your television or on cmcm.tv. Fly ball to left field is caught by James for 2 quick outs and a much different innings so far for Franklin and the Lumberjacks.
You know, if I could take a quick moment, Mike Shapiro
For your Pacific's
done
number
something special
14,
here in Santa
Price
Fe. The
Kendall.
ballpark looks great. There's a lot of fans. The playing field looks great. Yeah, this is really great. I mean, we've kind of spent this year looking at what works, looking at the type of things to help us be successful next year, and we're going to take a lot from Mike Shapiro. He's done a great job.
Kendall
Your
takes the
attention,
first
please.
pitch up and away
Stuart
for a
Horn
ball.
To the media table, please. Stuart Horn to the media table.
And you mentioned the independent ball culture with the fan experience that Pacific's president and general manager Mike Shapiro has done such a good job of putting together as Kendall takes the next pitch up and away, ball 2. And it's really what all these teams in this league have done. Whether you go to Maui, you go to Hilo, even Vallejo, it's all about the fan experience, and baseball almost is somewhat secondary. As long as you can have fun at this ballpark, it's a family atmosphere, you're doing everything the right way.
Yeah,
Kendall hits it in the air to right, back is Detweiler, and has a beat on it, waits for it to come down, and it's a quick 1-2-3 inning for Wayne Franklin and the Lumberjacks. Pacific's no runs, hits, or errors. We're done with the third. They lead, going to the fourth, 9-2. You're watching Pacific's Baseball on Marin TV.
Hi, I'm Graham Hooper.
And I'm Nadia Green.
Welcome to the Pacific's Baseball Game Recap, brought to you by Marin TV and Dominican University.
Today we're recapping the game on Thursday, July 4th, 2013.
The Santa Fe Pacific saw their home game winning streak broken on this Independence Day game with an 11-3 loss to the Maui Nicoa Ika Ika. The Pacific starter Christian Scholl was on the mound for the Pacifics, but he got into trouble early, especially from Maui's Ray Serrano, who was 2 for 4 against him on the day with 2 doubles. The first came with the bases loaded in the top of the first, scoring 2 runs. In the bottom of the first, the Pacific struck back on Michael Hova's single, scoring Price Kendall, but it wasn't enough. In the top of the second, Scholl contributed to the problem with a wild pitch, which allowed Maui's Jeremy Williams to score from third base, which increased the Hawaiian lead to 5 runs.
A silver lining on Thursday night's loss was the debut by Pacific's newest acquisition, Morgan Mikan. The outfielder from Texas was 2 for 4 with a single to shallow left in the 7th and got his first RBI on a double that scored Danny Gonzalez in the 9th. It always feels good to get your first hit, says Mikan.
But the Pacifics went down 11-3, handing Maui the glory on this holiday classic matchup. That's it for this game recap. I'm Graham Hooper.
And I'm Nadia Green. You can find our live TV schedule online at cmcm.tv/camp. Also, learn more about this sports broadcast training program. See you next time.
White. And a chopper to the second baseman. Kendall on one hop over to Donnie, who bare hands back to first. A double play.
Price Kendall with some prestidigitation.
After the base hit by White, Andre White bounced into the 4-6-3 double play, and a nice glove flip by Kendall, who's as smooth as they come over at second base. And Donani, normally a third baseman, playing shortstop after the late scratch to Danny Gonzalez with the bare hand play back to first in plenty of time. And just like that, Whitmore gets 2 outs with 1 pitch.
I believe that's the 3rd double play already. Price Kendall showing why he's such a good player.
The catcher, Brad Shannon, takes a ball 1-0, and Whitmore falls behind as the next pitch is hit in the air to right center field, racing over his pace, but he'll give way to Hova. And it's a 1-2-3 inning, and rather quickly for Bennett Whitmore and the Pacifics.
On your feet.
We're going to go ahead and stay right here. And Tom, you were mentioning during the break last inning, you were as well about the fan experience and how important that is. And shed some light on what you guys have been doing as being in the front office with the Lumberjacks and looking at other teams and looking for inspiration and for maybe a little guidance on how to do it the right way.
I think we can't say enough about what Mike Shapiro and his group has done. I think it has been really, really great what we think, how those ideas blend and work really in our hometown.
And Tom, you were mentioning also that looking at what Mike Shapiro has done with a team like the Pacifics or other teams like Vallejo, even if you wanted to venture out to Hawaii and go to Maui and Hilo, and seeing that kind of inspiration and seeing how it's done, is there anything that you might adopt from the different teams, or are you really going to look to try to make the East Bay Lumberjacks experience unique in its own sense?
Absolutely. So, of course, we're going to try to put in our own unique feel to it. We're going to really try to tie in the community. But I think it would be foolish for us not to really look at the great things that the Pacifics do, take a look at some of the things that the other teams do to really engage their fans, really get them excited. As you can see, the Pacifics just do a fantastic job. You can tell, even just during this past segment, the crowd is extremely excited and sing along with YMCA and just having a great time. And what's interesting about a baseball game, the experience isn't just the play on the field. It's also going out and eating a hot dog and singing and dancing and being loud and just having a great time. And yeah, the Pacifics do a great job, so we're going to obviously pick Mike Shapiro's brain, Eugene, and some of the other owners, and just really try to provide that same high level of entertainment.
I think one really important thing to do is to get the players really well introduced to the people who are coming to the game. Not just put a name and a lineup out there, but really get people to get to know the players. And that way they're coming out rooting for people that they feel like they know, rather than just a team that happens to be in their or near where they live.
The designated hitter Chase Fontaine leading off with the Pacifics with a 1-1 count. Takes a pitch in the dirt, and there's something to be said about that there, Chris, and it's something that the Pacifics have done. Opening day they put the players out greeting fans, they gave out the 2012 championship pens to fans, and it helps, like you said, you're rooting for somebody you feel like and there's a lot to be said about that. In the Pacifics, you tip your cap to them, and they do a great job of doing that.
Yeah, I think that's really key. I think that's a big piece of it. I think that's going to be a huge piece of what we do, including even all the way down to some of the youth through adult training that Wayne does, and some programs that he's doing out there, and blending that in with the home field that we end up with in the town, and just really creating a very personal touch.
Swing and a miss by Fontaine. Down on strikes goes the left-handed designated hitter for out number one here. In the bottom of the fourth inning, it'll be Michael Hoover to the plate.
Another area of emphasis for us is we're going to really try to engage the fans via the internet, on Facebook, on Twitter. We really want to get the fans to know the players, sort of make celebrities out of the players. And I know that fans like to follow certain players and like to get to know them a little bit, and it makes it a lot more fun to see them succeed. So that's something we're going to really try to focus on next year as well.
Hova takes the first pitch for a strike. Franklin jumps ahead on the count, 0-1. Next pitch up and away for a ball.
We have a second business with the three of us are also partners with that has to do with baseball and softball, actually. We're developing, producing, and selling online tools for baseball and softball.
1-1, hit in the air to deep left field, sending the left fielder White back at the track, and just shy of it, he'll pull it down as Hova gave it a ride, but not enough, just off the end of the bat, and Franklin has two down quickly. That'll bring up Johnny Woodard.
So blending our two businesses together will really add actually some extra excitement around the team as well.
Woodard, who walked with the bases loaded last time up, then came around to score on the grand slam by Kyle Donani to highlight that 9-run second inning. We're in the bottom of the fourth here at Albert Park. 9-2 Pacific's lead. Franklin's first pitch catches the outside corner for a strike. 1-0.
Yeah, to sort of echo what Chris was saying is, on top of teaming up, myself, Wayne, and Chris, with this baseball team, we're also trying to provide a lot of online tools to provide to coaches and teams to help making the run, help running the team to make the experience online a lot more smooth and really enjoyable as well. So sort of a split venture.
1-1 pitch in the dirt. Woodard, they say he went for it, and he can't believe it. It's strike 2.
I remember I used to play baseball, and there were plenty of times where I thought the umps just weren't paying attention, and maybe they had it out for me, and I'm sure everyone's thought that way one time or another, huh?
1-2, Franklin's pitch. Fastball up. Woodard lays off on it. 2-2.
I think the one advantage to the games I played is we never had any video, we were never on TV, so we could never go back and realize that we were the ones that were wrong, huh? Feel a little sheepish about getting so mad at him.
2-2 from Franklin. Swung on and missed, and it's another 1-2-3 inning for Wayne Franklin. No runs, hits, or errors for San Rafael. We head to the 5th inning. Pacific still lead 9-2.
So I'll take a little infield, they'll take a little infield, we're ready to go. 44 ounces, 10 ounces lighter than, or heavier than what the MLB players use. Yeah, so you make solid contact, the ball's going on.
Do you have a favorite?
Yes.
Which one? Are they all the same though?
They're all pretty close. Some of them don't have knobs, you can see. Some of them are a little lighter.
Uh-huh. Got it.
Sweet, that was the old stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Top of the 5th inning.
Kids, be sure
Hunter
to sign
Horsey
up for
here.
the
Welcome
tennis
back to
ball
the
toss that
broadcast.
takes
Top of the
place in
5th
the
inning here in Game
for
3
just
between the
$1.
San Rafael Pacifics
Head on
and
down
East
to
Bay
get
Lumberjacks.
services
It's
to sign up,
9-2.
or find a
Kyle
game-day
Donani with a
staff member to
grand
find out
slam
more.
to highlight a 9-run second inning for San Rafael. But since then, Wayne Franklin, the former San Francisco Giant, has been pretty good. On the other side, Ben Whitmore, riding a 4-game personal winning streak, has been just as effective. Back here at the game, and the Pacifics, I mentioned 35-12, first place in the Pacific Association, and a little bit of history. And granted, the 2012 team did not play as many games as this 2013 team, but with the win last night over the Lumberjacks, the Pacifics set a new franchise record for wins in a season with 35. The 2012 squad, who won the North American League Championship in just their first year of existence, went 24-26. This team at 35-12, on pace to maybe do the same. At least they hope so. Dwight Tardy, the designated hitter and 9-hitter to lead off. He takes a first pitch strike from Whitmore to begin the top of the 5th inning. Next pitch in the dirt, bounces away from Matt Cavanaugh, 1-1. A 4-game winning streak for the Pacifics, 8-2 in their last 10, including a 8-4 Hawaii road trip, in which they've won back-to-back series against the Hawaii Stars and the Nicoya Kaike, and that pitch just misses. 2 balls and 1 strike. White walked his last time up, came around to score. Next pitch away for a ball. 3-1. Beautiful night in San Rafael, California. Albert Park, the site of tonight's game, the home park of the Pacifics. Next pitch is just low, and it's a leadoff walk for Dwight Tardy. Albert Park, 320 to left, 370 to center, although some of the Pacific's hitters would like to contest that, and 320 in right field. Not to mention the softball field in dead center field. One of the little quirks about this little ballpark that before the Pacifics came to, it was used for recreational usage. The high school teams play here. The high school playoffs, this is the site of them. And now it's the home of the San Rafael Pacifics, at least for 3 months out of the summer. Tardy's over at first. It'll be Joe Whittick, who swings and misses at the first pitch. 4 strike 1. Whittick, the shortstop and leadoff hitter for East Bay. Whitmore delivers, and it's a fastball swung on and missed. Strike 2. Lefty on lefty as Bennett Whitmore looks in. And the 0-2 to Whittick is up and away. A show-me pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Whitmore is set to be married at the end of this year. Engaged to his lovely fiancée, Becky. And something he is definitely looking forward to. The next pitch is a tapper out by second. Kendall thinks about 2, but instead just goes the short way over to first for the fielder's choice. 1 down as he retires Whittick. On the play, Tardy will move over to second.
Now batting for East Bay, number 3.
And Kendall, who
Stephen
has already made a couple of double plays, look spectacular with Kyle Donani. Thought about it. You saw how he hesitated over at second, rather chooses to go the short way just to get the out. You would have a 9-2 lead. Just looking for outs in this situation. We'll bring up Stephen Flynn with 1 down and a runner in scoring position. Flynn walked his last time up. He swings away at the first pitch, chops it foul down the line. Strike 1. Mentioned the big news if you are just tuning in and listening to us. Steven Detweiler traded from the Pacifics to the Lumberjacks, making his debut for East Bay tonight. Detweiler, a couple of ground outs, 0 for 2. And what you got to think is an emotional night for him. I talked to him before the game, during batting practice, and if you've never seen a Detweiler batting practice, he puts on a show. And I talked to him, and he's fired up as Flynn takes a pitch down and in for a ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Lumberjacks at 1-20, and you might think, why do they have such a smaller record game-wise than the Pacifics? Did not start off in the Pacific Association. They were originally a team that was vying for a spot in the league and would play a few games against the 4 original Pacific Association teams, almost as a tryout. Next pitch is popped in the air, just short right field. Back goes Kendall, and he makes the play, 2 down. And they have played those 21 games against those opponents. And since being admitted into the league earlier this year, all those games have gone to the official stat book and the official records,
number 18, Justin
which
James.
puts their record at 1-20. But again, as Tom McCarry had mentioned earlier in the broadcast, not a whole lot of experience against these professional teams. And it's all a learning process for them. A travel team for 2013 next year look to have a home field. And by the sounds of it, when we spoke to Tom McCarry, is that they've got a couple of teams in the mix and really exploring every single option. Justin James takes low. It's 2 balls and no strikes. James came into tonight hitting .298. Hit a big home run last time out. Runner goes at second. Kavanaugh, there will be no throw as he just held it. And Whittick Tardy steals the base easily. Tardy, who led off this inning with a walk, reached second on the fielder's choice. Now he just stole third, as it looked like Whitmore really wasn't paying a whole lot of attention to him with 2 outs. And delivers ball 4 to Justin James, and it's the second walk of the inning. James will trot down to first. That'll bring up Mike Taylor. Taylor has been on base twice. He walked back in the second inning and singled in the third.
Number 26, Mike Taylor.
Mike Taylor playing third base for East Bay tonight. A big right-handed batter. Holds that bat up high by his right ear. Whitmore's first pitch to him is a fastball on the outside part of the plate for a strike. 9-2 Pacifics in the top of the 5th inning. San Rafael looking to win their 5th straight game and win yet another series. And in the process, sweeping the East Bay Lumberjacks before they welcome in the Vallejo Admirals starting tomorrow. A weekend series with their Cross Bay rivals, just up the road a little bit across the San Pablo Bay. 0-2 to Taylor. Down and in, just misses, doesn't get the call. But Kavanaugh held it there for what seemed like an eternity. Whitmore looks in, has the sign, and is ready to go. 1-2, here it comes, and it's a ground ball right to short base on one hop is Denani. He goes the short way to second, and Whitmore escapes without giving up any runs.
Hey fans, it's time for the 5th inning infield drag.
No runs, hits, or errors, 2 men left. Pacifics head to the bottom of the 5th inning. They lead 9-2.
And he'll smooth out all of your...
Hi, I'm Spencer Clark.
And I'm Daniel Williams.
And welcome to the Pacifics Baseball Game Recap, brought to you by Marin TV and Dominican University.
Today, we're recapping the game played on June 26th, 2013.
The San Rafael Pacifics had a great game with a strong defense and plenty of offensive heroics against the Hawaii Stars. Pacific's right-hander Tyler Pearson recorded 10 strikeouts over the night with masterful control and hard-to-hit movement on his pitches, which left the Stars hitters mystified. Pearson lasted 7 innings and got the win to improve his record to 4-1.
The offense was convincing as well, with 11 hits and 7 runs over the course of the game. The Pacifics got things started with catcher Kevin Ranking knocking home 2 with a single up the middle. Michael Hova crushed the ball for a home run in the bottom of the 3rd to make the score 3-0, but the Pacifics also showed some finesse at the plate as well, as seen here with a bunt by Derek Hale in the bottom of the 5th that was just too hot for the Stars to handle. Derek went on to score later that inning to make it 4-0. But you can't beat the big hits like this bomb in the bottom of the 7th off Price Kendall's bat, and Danny Gonzalez and Derek Hale also notched RBIs to make the Pacifics' lead insurmountable.
The Pacifics won 7-1 and look like the team to beat this year. That's it for this game recap. I'm Spencer Clark.
And I'm Daniel Williams. You can find our live TV schedule online at cmcm.tv/camp and also learn more about this sports broadcast training program. See you next time.
Hunter Hornstein, welcome to the broadcast. Game 3 of a 3-game set between San Rafael and the East Bay Lumberjacks. San Rafael won the first 2 games quite handily. Logan Odom in game 1 nearly threw a no-hitter into the 6th inning. And yesterday the big bats got going again for the San Rafael offense as they put up double-digit runs once again here at Albert Park. Game 3 so far going the way of San Rafael, 9-2 as we enter the bottom of the 5th inning. And the big man right now is Kyle Denani with the grand slam. And he's leading off this inning here. Wayne Franklin, a former San Francisco Giant, out there once again for his 5th inning of work. And this time gets to face Denani with nobody on base, which is probably a relief for him. First pitch is up for a ball. Kyle Donani, a Canadian product who used to play in the Brewers organization, hits one to right field, sending Detweiler back, still going back at the track, gone, home run. Kyle Donani has hit it out, his second of the season, of the game, I should say. And the Pacifics have put up 10, all on Franklin, and they lead 10-2 here in the bottom of the fifth. A leadoff home run for Donani, and the team leader in batting average continues his hot hitting.
Now batting for your Pacific.
And that'll bring up Derek Hale. Hale takes the first pitch low. 10-2 here after the Donani leadoff home run. As Derek Hale, who was a member of that 2012 championship squad, digs in. Hale played predominantly shortstop with the team as he fouls it off. Tonight, playing over at third base, he has played all over the diamond, as we've seen him at second base, seen him at third, seen him at first, and would even play the outfield if asked. 1-1, pitch in the dirt for a ball.
Your attention, please. Charlotte Ackley, Emma Lockenauer, and Brianna Lockenauer, please head down to the Pacific's dugout for the bagging contest. Charlotte Ackley, Brianna.
Last night, Hale went 1 for 4 with 2 runs scored and an RBI. Franklin's pitch to Hale is hit in the air to left field. That one sends back White. Just in front of the track, though. He pulls it down for out number 1. Hale flies out to left. That'll bring up Matt Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh, who was activated earlier this week, originally injured with a hamstring injury.
Kavanaugh.
Was really on a torrid pace for San Rafael before that injury, and it was unfortunate to see him go down, but seems to be swinging it okay and feeling all right. Swings away at the first pitch and fouls it straight back. Strike 1. Kavanaugh did not play last night. Played in game 1 of the series, though, so. Had the night off last night. Back in there today. Bottom of the 5th inning, it's 10-2 San Rafael against Wayne Franklin and the East Bay Lumberjacks. Next pitch is just outside for a ball, and Franklin, visible body language, did not like that call. 2-1. And has disagreed with the home plate umpire quite a bit this game. Next pitch up and in near the head of Kavanaugh, who spins out of there for ball 3. And Franklin once again falls behind another hitter. I mentioned Franklin is a former big league veteran, made his debut in 2000, pitched his final game in 2006. Kavanaugh takes a strike, looks back at the home plate umpire, thinks about it, and then digs back in. Base is loaded for the catcher out of Concord, California. Last year, he played in the Freedom League, the Arizona-based Freedom League, and he chops it foul down the right field line. We'll do it again. And the Pacifics even went to the Freedom League this year to begin the season, playing a 6-game series in Prescott, Arizona against the Montezuma Prescott Federals, starting on May 31st. Then they went to Goodyear for a quick 1-game series, hopped in their vans and drove back to San Rafael to get ready for opening day. Next pitch is popped up behind the plate. Running back is Shannon. He's not able to catch it, though. Kavanaugh stays alive. The other team from the Pacific Association that went to Arizona were the Vallejo Admirals, as the 2 California teams played an interleague competition against the 4 Arizona-based Freedom League teams. And in the islands, the Hawaiian teams played Intercontinental Series. They played in Japan against the Baseball Challenger League. Fastball up and away, and down goes Kavanaugh for out number 2. The Hawaii teams not only went to Japan, not only entertained the Japan teams, that those teams came out to play the Stars and the Maui Nakoi Kaika at their place, but they are actually going to Japan next week to play against the Baseball Challenger League of Japan. So the Pacific Association really trying to branch out and play other leagues and see what options are there for expansion of this league, and as a first-year league, really doing whatever it can to be successful and create a strong foundation for it to grow. Matt Quintero, the next batter, takes a pitch up and away for a ball. Quintero struck out looking his last time up. Takes a pitch inside for a strike. Just catches the inside part of the plate, 1-1. Two down here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Pacific's lead 10-2. A run in on the solo home run by Kyle Donani to lead off this inning. Quintero takes the pitch down for a ball. Matt Quintero, who was the backup catcher and now playing right field, takes the curveball for a strike, 2-2. When the season started, was the backup catcher to Matt Kavanaugh. Then the injury occurred to Kavanaugh, and Quintero assumed the starting role. The team then signed veteran backstop Kevin Reinking, who you saw in last night's game. 2-2 is swung on and missed, and a 1-2-3 inning saved the solo home run by Wayne Franklin again. He strikes out Kavanaugh and strikes out Quintero. We head to the top of the 6th inning. Pacific's lead 10-2 here at Albert Park.
Our contestants have
I'm Cha-Cha.
Cha-Cha, and tell me about yourself.
What do you want to know?
What do you play?
I usually play right field.
Yeah?
And hit in the 6, 7, maybe 8 spot.
Got a hitting streak going or anything like that?
No. I had a no strikeout streak going there for a while. But then I struck out against in the doubleheader that we had down in Fremont.
How'd you get your name Cha-Cha anyway?
He's anointed to me by Buttercup and the team. My real name is Charles Ackley. I'm an architect here in San Francisco. And I was born and raised in Bakersfield. Loved to play baseball, and heard about the vintage team last year, and here I am.
Who's Buttercup? Buttercup? There's Buttercup. Right there.
You're the skipper the team to victory.
And you got that name how?
After Buttercup Dickerson of the 1886. Who did he play for, Dave? It might have been the Cincinnati Reds or the Red Stockings.
Is your name really Dave?
Yes.
How'd you get that name?
My parents.
Oh, I see. All right. And you are?
My name is Grinder.
Otherwise known as?
Justin.
Otherwise known as?
That's it.
I thought you were Timmy.
Timmy.
Yeah, so I heard.
You can call me Timmy.
You're the freak. Yeah.
Big time Timmy Jim.
And who are you?
I'm Foxy.
Foxy.
Greg
Foxy.
Silver Fox Russell.
What do you play?
I play wherever I'm needed.
Utility man.
Utility man.
Okay, all right.
I play.
You got the
ball in the air.
Even been known to ump occasionally.
How's your batting average?
Pretty weak.
Pretty average?
Pretty average.
Yeah, okay, well that's what it's supposed to be. All right, thank you. And you, sir?
Blacksmith.
Blacksmith?
Yeah.
All right, what do you play?
Third base.
Yeah, gotta have a good solid blacksmith type of a guy to be there, right?
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, okay, how long have you been in this team?
Steve Detweiler swings at the first pitch and fouls it straight back as we begin the top of the 6th inning. It's 10-2 Pacific's. Bennett Whitmore out there for another inning of work. And the big news, obviously, this morning, Steven Detweiler traded to the East Bay Lumberjacks, facing his former mates for the first time. So far is 0 for 2 with a couple of ground outs. Takes the next pitch up and in for a ball. Detweiler, who, as you may recall, hit the dramatic not one but 2 home runs on opening night during the inaugural season a year ago, has played sparingly and at one point needed to play. The Pacifics, who had acquired A.J. Gallardo, the lefty, and the right-hander Dan Rogers, as Derek Hale throws out Steve Detweiler to begin the top of the 6th inning. The Pacifics had acquired the 2 pitchers in earlier trades in July and the end of June. And both of those were for a future consideration or a player to be named later. So it turned out Steve Detweiler, who had only appeared in 14 games for San Rafael, looking for an opportunity to play. And while it was a tough decision, General Manager and President Mike Shapiro of the Pacific says this one is nubbed to second. There's Kendall. 2 down. And while it was a tough decision for the entire organization, Pacific's President and General Manager Mike Shapiro said that, quote, Steve had already told us that it was going to be his last season as a player and was hoping to play more. And they wanted to give him the opportunity to play more regularly before retiring. And the Lumberjacks, who will give him this chance, decided to go ahead and make the trade. If you talk to Detweiler, no ill feelings. He's just excited to get back on the field and ready to compete. White takes a big hack at the first pitch, meanwhile, swing and a miss as Whitmore decided to go with the first pitch curveball and followed it up with a fastball just missing the outside corner. Kavanaugh holds it for an eternity, still doesn't get the call. It's 1-1. And the trades for Dan Rogers and A.J. Gallardo happened back on July 27th and June 7th. So it took a little while for the Pacifics to send somebody back in return, but when they did, it turned out to be Detweiler. Got him looking, strike 3. 1-2-3 inning for Bennett Whitmore. No runs, hits, or errors, and nobody left on base. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning. The Pacifics lead 10-2. We're watching Pacifics baseball on Marin TV.
And you would be?
I'm the sir.
The sir?
Sir, yes.
How do you do, sir? The sir umpire?
Yes, sir.
You're an undertaker in another life, is that it? Or?
That is the profession, yes. I'm choosing.
Who supplies the cigars?
Today I brought my own.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's next Sunday afternoon. We're calling the game.
Cool. All right. Well, tell me about the balls and the strikes and the rules and all that stuff.
So balls and strikes is a little different than modern day baseball. There's a low strike zone, there's a high strike zone, and there's both combined. And so the striker gets to decide whether he'd like low strikes, high strikes, or he just likes it over the plate. You can swing at anything. And so
you call him a striker, not a batter.
That is correct. And there are 7 balls for a walk.
7?
7 balls for a walk, 3 strikes and out. Catcher must catch the 3rd strike for an out. Let's see. Any attempt at a swing, even a, check swing is called a strike. Hit by the pitch, it's a ball.
What, you don't get to go to the base?
Correct, yeah. And once you get in that batter's box, you got to stay there. The striker can step out of the box, but the hurler is still allowed to throw pitches, and so there's no time, and that's called by the captains.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's outs?
Yes. Well,
3 outs?
Hands.
Hands?
There's 3 hands per inning, yes, which is the equivalent of an out.
This is bizarre.
It is bizarre.
Oh, wow.
And a run is called an ace.
An ace?
An ace. So when somebody comes around, touches home plate, that's an ace.
You know, I'm really glad I talked to you. This is going to help a lot.
Right on.
Okay, see ya.
Welcome into the broadcast booth. I want to welcome Randy Shapiro back into the broadcast booth with me, Hunter Hornstein, Randy Shapiro. Pacifics lead 10-2 here, and Randy, who is a student with the CM TV.
Yeah, that's right.
And also working alongside the radio broadcast as well on BGG101.com.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot there. It's really a great experience to be able to have both the video and audio side of kind of the broadcast.
Does not hurt to learn both sides, and both are completely different animals.
Definitely.
Zach Pace will lead off the bottom of the 6th inning. Pacifics lead 10-2. He takes the first pitch. Franklin's still out there, who saved that 2nd inning, has not pitched badly.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, the Pacifics obviously got off to a bit of a hot start, getting 10 runs on the board, but it's quieted down a little bit lately in the past innings.
Pace, a product out of Sonoma State University, and still holds some records with that team. But you mentioned this Pacifics team being able to get off to that hot start, and really it was that error that with 1 out could have been an inning double play. You get out of this inning for Franklin and the Lumberjacks. You get out only trailing 4-0, and you think about it now, and it would only be a 4-2 game, maybe 5-2 at the most, as Pace takes a pitch down 3-1. But, you fumble that ball by Stephen Flynn, and all of a sudden the floodgates open, and that's what a good team will do.
Exactly, and a good team like the Pacifics will definitely take advantage of any opportunity they have, like they did in the inning.
A line drive into right center field. That'll get down for a base hit, and Pace is on with a leadoff single. Go to the top of the lineup for Bryce Kendall.
Now batting for your Pacifics, number 14.
And there's something to be said about an offense that can kind of turn it on and take advantage when the door is cracked just a bit.
Exactly, and if you want to be a winning team, that's one of the things you have to do. You cannot leave people on base, and you got to make sure that you get them to score somehow, and the Pacifics are really a great team at doing that.
Kendall, who played the last 3 seasons with the Winnipeg Golden Eyes.
Almost at his feet there.
Yeah, and Kendall's a guy that gets on the plate, gets hit a lot by pitches, but that is a byproduct of being on that plate and taking away that outside corner. And Kendall's a guy who loves to go the other way, but when the pitch is inside, we've seen it before, where he has a little power to hit it out. And he swings and fouls one down the right field line for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. 10-2 San Rafael here in the bottom of the 6th inning. The sun has gone down, and we are playing under the lights here at Albert Park on a beautiful Thursday night. 1-1 to Kendall. He's out in front and rips it down the line, and Kendall talking to himself as he walks around the batter's box.
And yeah, as you said, if he gets that inside pitch, that he's one to definitely rip it down the line. So shows his power there by just drilling it down the left field line, just foul though.
Kendall, one of the more talkative, active players on this Pacifics roster. A roster that really gelled quickly as he is fisted, and it's into right field. And a base hit for Kendall, and it's back-to-back singles for the Pacifics, and the first 2 men are on.
Yeah, the second baseman there tried to get over to make some sort of, amazing catch, but just outside of its reach.
That's a case that Kendall is jammed. Franklin makes a good pitch, yet somehow the batter wins and gets that base hit. It's a funny game, baseball.
Exactly.
The designated hitter, Chase Fontaine, will dig in. He scored a run back in the 2nd inning, although it seemed like everybody in the Pacifics lineup has scored a run that inning. And the first pitch swinging hits a slow chopper to the shortstop. The only play will be the first, dug out by White, and they will be safe at first.
Yeah, credit to the first baseman though. The throw was kind of low, and he really snatched it up and saved what could have been some extra bases for the Pacifics.
Joe Wittick, who came racing in, makes the beautiful play, throws on the run. Andre White digs it out, and Chase Fontaine apparently beat it out. And Roland Nazar, the manager for the East Bay Lumberjacks, has already turned the hat around, and he is in the face of the field umpire and not happy.
Yeah, not at all, because this is not the position you want to be in any time of the game. having the harder lineup come up and the bases stacked. So kind of understand his frustration there. It did look like he beat it out, but still don't go down fighting, I guess.
Roland is still not done, and finally decides to walk back to the dugout and now has some words with the home plate umpire. And he's got to think that they should be in this game much closer than 10-2.
Yeah, of course, and maybe some of the frustration from that play is kind of venting out from what could have been this game a little bit, but definitely a tough call, and I think the officials made the right one.
Roland, who lingered with the home plate umpire, might have been saying something about the strike zone. Saw all game Wayne Franklin, who seemed to make those borderline pitches. They just didn't go his way, and the body language very obvious and apparent that he wasn't happy with the calls. And another call goes against the Lumberjacks, the way of San Rafael. Now the bases are loaded with nobody out, and Hova, who swings and drives one to left center field. Back at the track, back goes James. He's not going to get it. Up against the wall. This could clear the bases. One run is in. Here comes Kendall. He'll score. Fontaine to third. And Michael Hova drives in two with the bases loaded double. And it's a 10-run lead for San Rafael. It's 12-2.
Yeah, I mean, I was probably one of many here at beautiful San Rafael who thought that ball was gone. And it would have been quite a rare sight to see two grand slams in one night. But that one definitely had the distance. It was in center field, and if he had pulled it a little bit to the left side of the field, it probably would have been out of here.
We mentioned how hard it is to hit in this ballpark at night. You have the Marin layer that comes in, and not to mention sometimes the wind is pretty unpredictable. Right now, as we look at the flagpole out in left center field, as Roland will go and visit his starter on the mound, that flag out in left center field has gone from blowing to right to blowing out to left to standing completely still. And that pitch was hit in the wrong part of the ballpark and hit in a deep part of the ballpark over by where the dugouts for the softball field that actually is in play here in center field at Albert Park. And that is pretty mirror image to where Justin James hit his home run last night, and that was a shot.
Exactly, and I mean, like you said, the wind has really been all over the place, and it's got to be some sort of added difficulty to the outfielders, because sometimes, they like to get in the rhythm of knowing that, when a ball comes off the bat, it's going to really soar into the deep outfield, or if it's going to fizzle out and barely get past the dirt. So a little bit of difficulty added in, definitely at this ballpark.
With 2 on and still nobody out, Johnny Woodard digs in. He takes the first pitch for a strike. Pacifics lead 12-2.
Woodard, another guy who can really drive in some runs here. Not sure the Pacifics really need it now, but
Johnny Woodard, like Hova and Fontaine in front of him, was a part of that 2012 team that won a championship. Beautiful ring ceremony on opening night. The players received their rings in front of a sold-out crowd. The team was presented with a championship trophy, and Hova was presented with the MVP trophy. So really a night of accolades for these San Rafael Pacifics who returned, and the guys that are new on this club aren't too shabby either, one of them being Kyle Donani, who's hit 2 home runs tonight, including a grand slam.
Exactly, and Donani, really great guy in the dugout, very nice and polite, and and quite a hole plugger at third base. He played goalie when he was younger, originally from Canada, and some of that hand-eye coordination must have definitely transitioned into the third base position, because he snags balls that not even major leaguers sometimes can get it to.
Johnny Woodard swings and misses through a fastball up and strikes out for out number 1. Woodard with his second strikeout of the night, and that will bring up the Canadian product, Kyle Donani. And you mentioned how Kyle played at hockey. And you got to think that being a goalie and having to make those quick saves on a puck that is moving very fast, you got to think that did something for his ability to play such a quality defense. He has made plays, and mostly at third base, and you've seen him tonight at shortstop, and mostly he's playing and making plays, snagging balls that you see big leaguers at the big league level at third base do.
Exactly. And I mean, it's got to transition to his batting somewhat too, because he's just seen the ball amazingly. So
Donnie with a couple of home runs, like we mentioned tonight, a 1-1 count. Ten hits for the Pacifics and 12 runs. It's a next pitch down and in, but it'll be called the strike. 1-2. Donani 2 for 2 tonight. He walked back in the second inning. Homered in the second inning. Yes, he hit twice. And then homered again to lead off the fifth. Next pitch is up and away, and it hits the backstop. Fontaine over at third thought about it, but instead will stay right there.
And props to the pitcher there. Might have saved a run. I think on third base there, definitely saw the pitcher rushing in to possibly get the ball back from the catcher behind the plate and make the out, and thought twice about stealing home.
Count will move to 2-2. It's a 10-run lead for San Rafael. They've scored 2 on the bases loaded double by Hova. Fontaine over at third and Hova at second. Woodard struck out, and now we have Donati, who 2-2 takes a pitch inside for a ball, count full. And there's that body language from Franklin once again, who takes some time as he steps off the mound, rubs up the baseball, talking to himself, shaking his head, adjusts his cap, and gets right back up on that mound. Looks into his catcher, Shannon, for the 3-2 pitch. And here it comes, and it's lined into center field, but right at James, who catches it on a line. Fontaine started and stopped over at third base, but thinks better of it as James gets that ball in quickly. And it's a hard out to center for Donani. But even that ball was squared up pretty well.
Definitely, and if it was hit just a little bit to the right or the left, definitely a base hit at the least a single and possibly even a double. That ball was really roped into the outfield.
Was one of your possibilities as you bid on
Shannon will go out and talk to his pitcher, Franklin, as they figure out how to deal with Hale. Hale, another left-handed batter in this Pacifics lineup, flew out to left his last time up. Officially 0 for 3, a couple of flyouts and a strikeout.
Dan Rogers and even manager Ryan Pretty.
Hunter Hornstein and Randy Shapiro here with you on Marin Television. Thanks for tuning in. You picked a good one. Pitch to Hale is up and away. Derek out of Downey, California, was once a member of the Cincinnati Reds organization, and he swings and misses through a good fastball. Looked like Franklin reared back a little bit on that one. All things considering, if Franklin somehow gets out of this inning, there's a guy with the bases loaded and nobody out, and Hova, who only drove in 2, and again, minimizing the damage, which makes that 9-run second inning so important and so detrimental to the East Bay Lumberjacks. You make the routine plays, and you're not entirely out of this game. Pitch to Hale is taken for a strike, 2-2.
Definitely, I mean, and to get out of this inning is probably key at this point. You don't want to get on bad momentum track late in the game because it really kills any chance you have at a comeback. So you definitely want to get out of this one, leaving Pacific's batters on base if you are the Lumberjacks.
Franklin delivers the 2-2, fastball outside for a ball, and then another pitch that could have gone either way, and the home plate umpire decides to give it to East Bay. Roland Nazar, the manager for East Bay, pacing outside of his dugout. If Hale were to reach, it would be Matt Kavanaugh to bat. The catcher is waiting on deck. (3-2) pitch just outside, and the bases are loaded, and Franklin again didn't like that one.
Now batting for your Pacifics, number 3, Matt Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh struck out his last time up. Came in tonight hitting .262 and will face the lefty Franklin. Here it comes. First pitch is in there for a strike, and Franklin, he is getting ahead of these hitters. It's just a matter of putting them away.
Exactly, and that is something that is very important rather for a pitcher to do, is get comfortable within the count, and that way you can mix up your pitches later on without having to really pitch to the batter. You can kind of make the batter come to you, which is definitely important, especially late in the game. You don't want to be pitching to batters because you would like to keep the score where it is.
Infield playing back with 2 outs. Outfield straight away. Pitch up for a ball. 2-1. Hunter Hornstein, Randy Shapiro on Marin Television, bringing you Pacifics baseball on this beautiful Thursday night. 12-2 Pacifics, as Kavanaugh looks at a bender for a strike. And most of the crowd has stuck around. They saw 18 runs last night. They're seeing 12 tonight. And if they were here at last night's game, they saw almost the same thing, a couple of grand slams.
Definitely. And if you're a fan watching the game, it's
strike 3 called to Kavanaugh. He doesn't like it. Franklin gets out of the inning. Only 2 allowed. Though the Pacifics lead now 12-2. We'll stay right here. And Randy, a team like the Lumberjacks, and we mentioned it with Tom McCarry when he was here, a lot of growing pains in this season, but at the end of it, they've got to feel good about what they have, especially considering they really weren't even a part of this league on a full-time basis until just a few weeks ago.
Definitely. I think we're going to see a lot of improvement in the coming years. Definitely with the pitching staff improving, the batting lineup definitely improving, and they're going to become more well-known around the league, and it's going to be something where I feel that they're really going to be a great part of this league in a couple years, and they need some time to get to the level of, let's say, the San Rafael Pacifics, but when they do, it'll make for a more entertaining, exciting Bay Area team.
They've made the changes, and made a couple of different moves. They've gotten a guy like Justin James, made the move for Steve Detweiler. They've got an ownership group that is looking at other ballparks and looking at other teams and how they run things. They've got a baseball-oriented front office who are also very smart business people. So they are going in the right direction, and the league itself is also being well run, and the foundation for that, with the 4 teams that are in it, now you add the Lumberjacks, all of those teams have a good idea of what they're trying to do and are run by the right people. And in independent ball, you see so many different leagues and teams be created and they fold, but it seems like the Pacific Association, in just its first year, is really putting the foundation down for a quality, stable league to last for years to come.
Definitely, and I think for the Lumberjacks, I mean, it's just going to take time. You can't expect off the bat to just jump in and compete with teams like the Pacifics, who were champions last year, as you mentioned. But I think, with the right amount of time, they're definitely going to be a great part of this league, and they're going to be a very exciting team in the future, for sure.
And the Pacific Association, in its first year, is actually an outgrowth of the North American League. That was a league that came out of the Golden Baseball League, and if you're fans and of the San Diego Surf Dogs, the Long Beach Armada, the Orange County Flyers, these teams that were successful in their own right, and later down the road, for whatever reason, were unable to continue.
Number 13,
Mike Marshall, the manager of the San Rafael Pacifics last year, and now the commissioner this year, as we see a new pitcher in, as it'll be Ross Pomerantz, the Marin Academy grad, taking over in the 7th inning for Bennett Whitmore. So Whitmore goes 6 innings, gives up 2 runs, 5 hits, and is in line for another win. Pitch is line foul just down the line, and just foul it was off the bat of Shannon, the catcher, leading off the top of the 7th inning.
Yeah, that looked like just almost a baseball's length to the left of the left field foul line. So very, very just foul, like you mentioned.
But the commissioner of this league, Mike Marshall, managed the Pacifics last year, has Major League Baseball ties, a 2-time World Series champion with the Los Angeles Dodgers, has been in independent ball before, was a front office executive with the Chico Outlaws. He was also a manager with the Chico Outlaws, a guy that really knows what it takes to be successful in independent ball and what kind of business-oriented way you got to think about it. You know, he likes to say that the baseball takes care of itself. You've got to do the sponsorships. You've got to make the fan-friendly atmosphere. And it seems like all 4 of these teams are really going about it the right way.
Definitely, and in terms of the Pacifics, it's great to see a local ballpark that really feels local. You see a lot of local fans. You have, whether it's the local food at the snack bar over there, and at Jane's Cafe, or the Bevmo bullpen over there, and just a lot of local, kind of. It's just got a local feel. It feels like you're at home whenever you're at the ballpark, and it's really a great place to come to the game, which is why so many of the fans have stuck around late in the night to watch the Pacifics finish off this game.
Pomerantz pulls the string on Shannon and strikes him out, and that'll bring up the 9-hitter, Dwight Tardy, who takes a first pitch fastball for a strike. And Pomerantz throwing a little bit harder than Whitmore did, still from the left side, however. And Pomerantz is a guy who has made a couple of starts himself, works primarily out of the bullpen. And like I said, a Marin Academy grad. So a local guy who played for the Sonoma County Grapes last season. The next pitch is in the dirt for a ball. Played for the Sonoma County Grapes last season, came to spring training as a member of the Pacifics, did not make the final roster, was sent over to the Traveling Grapes, a team that travels much like the East Bay Lumberjacks do now. And you speak to him, and that might have put a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. Came into spring training in 2013, this year, determined to make the ball club, did out of spring training, and has pitched pretty well for the San Rafael. It's out of Kentfield, California. You see there a 3.85 ERA. He made his first start as part of the doubleheader in Prescott, Arizona, a start that was ended before it really even started. Two batters in, he took a line drive off the kneecap and had to exit the game. And just an ultimate competitor. He said during that whole ordeal when he was hit, he said, "I'm ready to go tomorrow." Wow. And so Pomerantz, a guy who just a very nice, happy-go-lucky guy, but when he gets on the mound is as competitive as they come and gives up the walk to the 9-hitter. A one-out walk puts a runner aboard for East Bay.
And, it's definitely great to have any player at any position have the motivation to want to get better and to want to improve. And like you said, may have had a little bit of a chip on the shoulder coming into the Pacifics organization, but has really, shown his motivation and shown his will to improve. So that's really, in the long run, what you're looking for.
Pomerantz has appeared in 11 games and 5 starts. 28 innings so far for the lefty. And the 3.85 ERA is 2-1. As he'll face Joe Whittick, it's 1-0. Pacifics 12, East Bay 2. In the top of the 7th inning, in game number 3 of a 3-game series, the Pacifics have won the first 2 and looking for the sweep. Next pitch to Whittick is swung on and missed. He misses the 0-2 fastball.
Yeah, big swing there. It looks like he really wanted to hit that pitch, but just swung low, and he'll get the strike.
Whittick awaits, lefty on lefty. Runner goes, and it's chopped foul. And I got to think, if Whittick lets that ball go, Tardy might have stolen that base quite easily. He had an incredible jump. And Pomerantz really didn't even look at the runner. And Matt Cavanaugh will go ahead and talk to his pitcher.
Yeah, as you mentioned, a great jump. By the time the ball actually hit the bat, it looked like he was more than halfway to second base. And that's kind of been a theme I've noticed with the Lumberjacks is they've been getting, really great jumps off of the bag, and both of the Pacifics and the Lumberjacks in the series. But it's just interesting to see someone who, by the time, you hear the crack of the bat or you hear the ball hit the glove, when someone's almost at second base, you're like, wow, what just happened? Did he really just steal second that quick?
The 2-2 from Pomerantz is chopped foul off of the ankle, and it rolls back behind the backstop. And we'll do it again.
I was talking to Gene about the background of some of these guys, like number 7. Let's see what ballpark was. He got drafted.
Kind of a reoccurring theme that both teams have a ton of speed in their lineup.
Like I went to my dad says a place up in Tahoe. We went to the Reno Aces game with some friends.
Pomerantz misses low. And it's now 3-2, and after getting one out relatively quickly, he walked Tardy and has run the count full against the leadoff hitter, Whittick.
So the team does well.
Stephen Flynn, the second baseman, on deck. Whittick reaches for it and lines it in the right field for a single on a one-out single, and runners will move up 90 feet, and it's 2 on and 1 out for Stephen Flynn.
Right. No. Yeah, exactly.
A fastball on the outside part of the corner that he just kind of threw his bat out and lined it into right field. And Woodard was in a position to almost make the play, but it looked like he had to hold up a little bit as Tardy stopped. It was a line drive. You freeze on the line drive. Flynn, first pitch swinging, skies it into right field. Back goes Kendall, but it will be Hova to make the play. And Ross Pomerantz gets out number 2 on 1 pitch.
And great outfield communication there. The center fielder and the right fielder, Hova was coming over and saw that he had a better opportunity to catch that ball and called off and made the out. So I think it's been kind of a theme with the Pacifics too, is communication. You heard the whole team almost yell up as soon as the ball was hit, and it can't hurt. It definitely can't hurt to have everyone talking and everyone knowing what's going on the baseball diamond.
Tardy at second, Whittick over at first, and here's Justin James. Takes the first pitch up and away for a ball, 1-0. It's been a tight zone so far tonight. Franklin wasn't too happy with it. And if the Pacific starter Whitmore wasn't happy with it, he didn't show it. James chops one foul down the first base side, strike 1. 2 outs in the top of the 7th inning. It's a 12-2 lead for San Rafael.
I have this client of mine. He's 60. He looks like you, like in awesome shape.
Who look like they're in prime position to win their 36th game of the season and run the win streak to 5. Pitch to James is just low, and Kavanaugh again just holds that glove out there, begging for this call, almost trying to frame it as best he can. Again, a very tight zone, and Pomerantz falls behind 2-1, looks in, ready, and delivers. That pitch is away, and it's 3-1.
And if the Lumberjacks are looking to come back in this game, Adams is definitely the guy to do it. He's got some serious power, and he's a guy who can hit it pretty deep in even with the wind conditions at Albert Field.
Next pitch is up and away, and Justin James takes the walk. The bases are loaded for the cleanup hitter, Mike Taylor. Matt Kavanaugh will run back out there and talk to his lefty once again. And Kavanaugh, who is, like we mentioned, got hurt and ended up going on the inactive list before being activated at the beginning of this homestand, was just starting to get a good rapport with his pitchers, ends up getting hurt and hasn't worked with some of these guys in 3 to 4 weeks. You wonder if that might be why there are so many mound visits. Kavanaugh and his pitchers trying to get on sync. The first pitch to Taylor's away for a ball. Ross Pomerantz falls behind on the number 4 hitter with the big man Steven Detweiler waiting on deck. All down in the dirt. 1-1. No activity in the Pacific's pen. So first-year manager Ryan Pretty is going to go ahead and stick with Pomerantz. Next pitch is skied back behind the plate. It's going to get out of play, though, and we'll do it again. Strike two.
And as you mentioned, no activity in the Pacific's bullpen, but there is activity in the Lumberjacks, and it's interesting. I've noticed this series, before they start, throwing their normal routine pitches and getting their arm warmed, they stand back significantly farther than they usually do and throw long toss to get, the long arm warmed up to, gain speed as you move closer into the plate. It's an interesting tradition that basically is something that just can help loosen the shoulder up a little bit more than the normal routine could.
The count was 2-2. After that pitch was swung on and missed. Now we're evened up at 2-2 with 2 outs. Bases loaded for the Lumberjacks. 2-2 outside. And the runners will be off with a 3-2 count and 2 outs. Pacifics with a 10-run lead. That's Tardy at third, Whittick at second, and Justin James at first. Mike Taylor trying to do something to get Detweiler up with a runner in scoring position for East Bay. The 3-2, there go the runners, and the ball is driven in the air to deep left field. Back goes Quintero looking up, and 2 grand slams in one game. Mike Taylor has hit it out.
And just what the Lumberjacks needed, 4 runs on the board. I mean, you couldn't have asked for anything more if you are from East Bay, and that ball was just crushed. It seemed that it went clear over the fence, and you clearly knew that it was gone right off the crack of the bat. I mean, it was way out of here.
The lead is cut in half. It's now 12-6 as East Bay flexes some muscles, puts 4 up on their own, and Mike Taylor put a charge into that one. The fastball from Ross Pomerantz hammered way beyond the left field fence. And Quintero gave it a couple of courtesy looks as Detweiler swings at the 0-1 and lifts it to right. There's Hova to make the play and retire to the side. But Mike Taylor hits the grand slam, puts 4 on the board for East Bay. We head to the bottom of the 7th. It's time to stretch here at Albert Park. San Rafael leads 12-6.
Over there.
No talking to the sir today at all, okay? It's a tight game, let him make the calls. 2, when we're at the plate, aggressive, think your swings to right center. We get full happy to hit ground balls, make outs. Right center, drive the ball hard, aggressive on the base paths, we've seen what it can do, and just play smart. Play like we've been playing the last couple of weeks. Good D, no extra bases, no wasted throws.
Aggressive on the base paths, and look, you don't even have to think that hard about right center, just wait. Just hold back an extra, beat before you swing.
Slow infield, so
and outfield. Right field's muddy.
So particularly, I think the person that impacts the most is the pitchers. You're so used to having plenty of time, you never react. Like as we saw last week, if it's a slow dribbler, you gotta go get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Back here at Albert Park, Hunter Hornstein, Randy Shapiro. Welcome back to Game 3 of a 3-game set. Pacific's lead 12-6, and a lot of offense tonight by way of the homer. A grand slam for each side. Kyle Donati hit one, and Mike Taylor hit one in the top half of the 7th inning. Donati's hit actually 2 home runs, a solo shot to go along with the grand slam. But nevertheless, a 12-6 lead for the Pacifics as they look to win their 5th game in a row and move their lead to potentially 6 full games. They came into tonight leading 5 games over second place Maui, and they will bat here in the bottom of the 7th against a new pitcher. It's a right-hander, Marquise Pettis, another former Pacific who was part of the squad during the 2012 team in spring training. Did not make the club, much like a Ross Pomerantz, did not make the club, went to the Sonoma County Grapes, didn't pitch that badly for them, and ended up being released midway through the season. Oh, he's found himself here again in independent ball, playing at a mound that's very familiar to him here at Albert Park. This time he's wearing green for the East Bay Lumberjacks. He's the new pitcher. He'll face Matt Quintero to lead off the bottom half of the 7th, and the first pitch is up and away for a ball. Different look for the Pacifics here in this 7th inning, as Pettis not only is a righty but throws much harder than Franklin did. And the former Giant didn't pitch that poorly, was victimized by a couple of errors that led to a 9-run second, but other than that gave up 1 in the 5th, and 2 in the 6th. The 2-0 is in there for a strike. So both teams have dipped into their bullpen. Ross Pomerantz relieved Bennett Whitmore in line for the win in the 7th, and Pettis does the same for Franklin. Quintero takes the ball down. It's 3-1.
That ball just missed there on the lower part of the strike zone. Fastball's coming in very hot.
Quintero 1 for 3 today, the single back in the 2nd, then back-to-back strikeouts his last 2 times. And he'll work the walk, and the leadoff man is on for San Rafael in the bottom of the 7th.
Time to head down to the third base line for the tennis ball toss. Please look for the ushers down in the third base area.
And when he's throwing those fastballs, the last couple of them just hit a little bit low, and if he's just raises them up just a tiny bit, they may hit the strike zone, and it may be more of a count to work with.
Zach Bass, the center fielder, will dig in.
Once again, ladies, Zach
for his 4th at-bat of the night. He singled his last time up back in the 6th inning, came around and scored.
And many other of your favorite Pacifics.
He also scored in the 2nd. It was his ground ball to second base that led to the error that ended up leading to that 9th inning. Next pitch is in the dirt, bounces straight up, doesn't go that far until it rolls all the way back to almost to the backstop, just past the SR painted there on the ground, and Matt Quintero will advance to 2nd. That ball took a funny hop. It looked like maybe the shin guard of the catcher, bounced straight up, landed, didn't really go anywhere, had some funky backspin to it, and then ended up rolling back down to the backstop. But Quintero wasn't quite sure. He didn't initially take off because that ball didn't necessarily go that far.
Exactly, and I mean the catcher looked left, he looked right, he thought that the ball must have gone somewhere close by, and a very awkward bounce like you said, and the ball popped straight up into the air, and definitely not a place that a catcher would look first when trying to locate the ball after a pitch in the dirt.
Next pitch is low for a ball as well. It's now 2-0. Hunter Hornstein, Randy Shapiro, you're on Marin TV. Those of you in the area watching on your television, we want to thank you. And for those watching online at cmcm.tv, we want to thank you as well. Hope you're enjoying all the action from tonight as Zach Pace works the walk and will trot down the 2nd, and that'll prompt a coaching visit to the mound.
Fans, tickets to future Pacific's home games are available now Head to the Guarantee Mortgage ticket booth in front of the stadium.
Roland Nazar has really worn out that path to the pitcher's mound, it seems like, tonight. He goes out there to talk to Petitz, who is the new pitcher for the Lumberjacks. Wayne Franklin works 6 innings, giving up 12 runs and 10 hits, including 2 of those 2 home runs to Kyle Donati, 1 a grand slam and 1 a solo shot.
Right, and at this point in the game, the last thing the Lumberjacks really need is more people on base, more walks. So, coach coming out there just telling them probably to just throw strikes and get the ball in there and let the fielders do the work.
With nobody out, it'll be the top of the order. Price Kendall singled back in the 6th inning and in the 2nd. Other than that, a couple of flyouts, 1 in the 1st, 1 in the 3rd. Officially 2 for 4. And Kendall takes the first pitch in for a ball. Price, who lives in Oakland and has a job in the city that he will commute to and then take the ferry across the bay just in time for a game. So one of those working men has a family back home.
In a tough position for the pitcher right now because you don't want to pitch one down the pipe for Kendall to get a hold of, but you also don't want to load the bases on another walk.
Pettit's faced with an 0-2 count, delivers in the dirt, and it's 3-0.
Unfortunately, now you're going to have to throw something in the strike zone, and that means that Kendall could possibly get a hold of it.
Kendall, the second baseman for the Pacifics, flicks that bat by his ear and takes a strike right down the middle, 3-1.
And that's one of those pitches where, if you know the ball's coming, you know it's going to be there, 3-0 count, why not just take a swing at it and see where it goes?
Kendall with 15 doubles on the year. Swings away and lines it in the left center field, and that'll roll and be bobbled out in left field. Quintero will round third and come home. He will score. It's 13-6. Kendall settles for a single, but as I was saying before he lined that pitch, he's 15 doubles for him. Is good for second in the league. He earns the RBI, and it's a 16-6 lead. Excuse me, 13-6 lead.
And Price clearly making the right decision there and driving that one to left field after taking the 3-0 pitch down the middle.
On the hit, Zach Pace moved over to second base. The Pacific's starting to go station to station here as this game is becoming a much more lopsided affair, much like last night. And those are just those unwritten rules of baseball. You show respect for the other team.
Exactly, and there were some situations last night where, you don't want to run up the score, of course, and at the same time you don't want to, show the team that you're backing down. There was a shot into deep left field where the runner on third ended up tagging and coming home, and it's one of those situations where the Pacifics didn't really need the run, but if they held him at third base, it would have looked like, almost like they're giving up because they don't want to embarrass the Lumberjacks any further. So it's one of those tough positions that you're in when you're up by so much. And no one, of course, like the radio guys were talking about last night, no one really wants to be in a position where it's awkward between both teams when it's such a blowout.
3-0 Fontaine. Speditz checks the runner and will deliver. Fontaine swinging 3-0. Hits it in the foul ground along the third base line, and it is caught for out number 1. Fontaine swinging 3-0, just as we were talking about maybe taking your foot off the gas pedal a little bit. He ends up swinging 3-0, hits it in the foul ground. It's caught for out number 1, and there's the first out.
And a very difficult catch there for the catcher. It seemed that he almost caught it Willie Mays basket style there, but he stretched up to the sky and ended up catching a ball that was hit well behind him for out number 1.
That pitch gets away, and the runners will advance. Pace to third. Kendall moves up to second.
Another one of those situations where, Pacifics, don't really need the steal, but if you don't steal on a pass ball, what does it say to the opponent,
With that pass ball, it takes away the opportunity for an inning-ending double play. As now first base is open. And the big hitters for San Rafael due up 3 and 4 at the plate and on deck. 1-0 to Hova. Here it comes, and he swings away and lines it to third base, gets under the glove, and sails into left field. Pace will score on the play. Hova to first, and Kendall will move station to third. The Pacifics tack on another one. It's 14-6.
Now batting for your Pacifics.
Hova just drilled that down the left side, and
don't forget, ladies,
one of those balls that is nearly impossible to catch when it's just lying down there, and the third baseman just wasn't quite in the position to make the play. It's hard to get those screaming line drives when you really just almost have to choose where you're going to stand and hope that line drive comes right your way.
Mike Taylor, the third baseman for East Bay, won't be penalized. They didn't give him an error on the play, instead crediting Hova with the hit. And Hova has put together very quietly a 3-hit night. Here's Woodard. First pitch is in there for a strike. A very tough night to be a pitcher if you're the Lumberjacks. He swings and misses. And the fastball gets Woodard, who smiles back at Pettis out at the mound. And I don't care who you are, this is a tough lineup to pitch to.
Definitely. And, it's not just the Lumberjacks, it's the Pacific's lineup, as you mentioned. They really have, 9 guys who are on the team who can really drill the ball and get people on base and bat them in once they're on base.
Kendall over at third, Hova at first, Woodard at the plate. It's 14-6, San Rafael in the bottom of the 7th inning. Most of the crowd is starting to disperse as the Pacifics look like they might have this one in the bag. You don't want to make anything official as the curveball just misses away for a ball, but this might be as close to being sewed up as it comes. 9 runs in the second, 1 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, and 2 in the 7th thus far for San Rafael. Pettis' pitch is up and away for a ball.
And as you mentioned, the 4 runs, the grand slam that was hit in the 7th inning, you sensed a little bit of a comeback from the Lumberjacks, and it sort of quieted down, and we'd, love to see a raging comeback come up in the later innings to make it more of a game. But as you said, it's getting to the point where it's becoming a little more one-sided.
Fastball inner part of the plate just misses. I think that ball was in more than it was down as Johnny takes ball 3 and it's a full count. Hova at first will be off with the pitch. Excuse me, no he won't. There's 1 out here in the inning. Fontaine's pop up to the catcher, the only out recorded so far. Woodard, meanwhile, fouls another pitch back, spoiling Mark Pettis' pitch. And the count remains 3-2. 14 runs, 12 hits for the Pacifics, no errors. And the 3-2 is up and in, and it hit him.
Ouch.
On the left forearm, Woodard not happy about it, throws down the bat, probably more because it stings a little bit. It's cold out here. And that ball just tailing up and in, nicked him. And the bases are loaded for Kyle Donani once again.
Yeah, and that definitely didn't seem like an anger thing. It was more of an initial reaction to the pain of getting hit in the forearm. That's got to hurt. I mean, getting hit with a fastball right in the upper forearm towards your wrist really stings on the way to first base.
We've said Donani's name a lot. The shortstop tonight has had himself quite the offensive display. A grand slam and a solo home run, 1 to left and 1 to right.
and one of the great athletes that just stacks the Pacific's lineup, like we mentioned earlier, a great fielder, and so far tonight a great batter, and definitely on the season as well.
Pettis' pitch gets in on the hands. Dinani swings away and fouls it down the right field side, strike one. Pettis, who played for Diablo Valley College, was drafted by the Mariners back in 2001 in the 40th round. Did not sign, however, opting to remain in school, and he gets Dinani swinging at a good off-speed pitch. Strike two.
Yeah, that one really had some sink on it and fooled Dinani for sure.
Seattle forgave Pettis for not signing, however, and drafted him again in 2006. Played for the organization in Arizona, as the next pitch is just inside for a ball. Dinani takes it 2-2.
You know, another thing about Dinani is he's really got an eye for the pitches. You know, the last pitch, or 2 pitches ago rather, where he swung and missed the breaking ball that fell in there. And this one sees the same exact pitch and smart enough to know that that one's going to fall out of the zone.
Fouled straight back and bounces into the Pacific's dugout. Matt Quintero and Matt Kavanaugh fighting over it. Neither of them catch it, though. Dinani spoils the 2-2 offering from Pettis and stays alive. Bases loaded, Kendall at third, Hova at second, Woodard at first. Nowhere for Dinani to go as he awaits the 2-2, and it's a curveball swung on and missed. Strike three.
And one of the great things that I like to see with the Pacific's dugout is, you know, with some of these big wins that they've been having against the Lumberjacks, all of them clearly are showing that they're great guys. They're not rubbing it in. They're not, you know, bragging about the wins. They're very humble, and they win with class, which is definitely important for a very winning team.
When this team was constructed in the offseason, the management and the then manager, James Frisbee, made a point as Hale rips it into left field for a base hit on the first pitch he sees. Runners move up 90 feet, Kendall scores, and it's 15-6. When this team was constructed in the offseason, they brought back one pitcher from the rotation and just a handful of position players, but for the most part revamped the infield, putting the focus on defense. General Manager Mike Shapiro wanted defense to be at a premium, brought in Bryce Kendall from Winnipeg to play second base. The usual shortstop, Danny Gonzalez, as Matt Kavanaugh digs in here. Takes the first pitch up and away. The usual shortstop, Danny Gonzalez, was in the original starting lineup, was a late scratch.
Yeah,
but he can play shortstop better than almost anybody in this league, as smooth a glove as anybody, that's for sure. Dinani, who is playing shortstop now, is the usual third baseman, and he's another guy who has an unbelievable glove. And at first base, Johnny Woodard can pick it pretty beautifully.
And Mike, a very intelligent man. I had the pleasure of sitting next to him a couple times in the radio broadcast, and he really definitely has a feel for the game, and a very smart thing, like you mentioned, pointing out, you know, focusing on the defense as a primary type of thing to focus on.
Line to third base, caught for out number 3. The Pacifics put up 3 here in the bottom of the 7th. They leave the bases loaded, and they lead 15-6. You're watching Pacifics baseball on Marin TV.
And as always, our chief judge will be Sir Francis.
My name is Mariah Chinchilla, and I'm a senior at Dominican University. When I graduate, I want to be a web and media producer.
My name is Daniel Williams. I go to the University of Puget Sound, and I want to work in the baseball industry.
Zach Busson, Dominican University, and I want to be a garment manufacturer.
The name's Vela, Sam Vela. I'm a junior at Dominican University of California. When I graduate, I plan on trying out for professional soccer teams in Europe.
My name is Graham Hooper. I go to the San Francisco Flex Academy, and I want to be a baseball broadcaster.
Janet McCarroll. I go to Dominican University and I am interested in pursuing media arts.
My name is Spencer Clark. I go to the University of Arizona and I want to be a composer.
Nadia Green, Dominican University of California, and I'd like to go into PR and marketing.
Hi, my name is Randy Shapiro. I go to Tam High School, and I'd love to be an ESPN anchor when I'm older.
Back at Albert Park, Ross Pomerantz will go out for his second inning of work out of the pen. Randy Shapiro, Hunter Hornstein from Thursday Night Baseball here on Marin TV. The Pacifics with a comfortable 15-6 lead over the East Bay Lumberjacks as they look to sweep the three-game series over the traveling team. Just admitted into the Pacific Association, as we mentioned. And they are making the debut of their new hitter, Steven Detweiler, who was traded from San Rafael to East Bay just this morning.
That's right, and Detweiler, a really great hitter, and will be a great addition to their lineup.
Leading off will be Danny Rico. He's pinch hitting for Toby Reedy White, and he goes ahead and swings at the first pitch and sails straight back into the parking lot outside the stadium. Strike one. Pomerantz looking to have a better inning than he did last time, where he was able to get one out, but then things started to fall apart a little bit. Ended up giving up the grand slam to Mike Taylor to help East Bay score 4 in their top of the 7th. The Pacific's got 3 of those runs back, and that's where we are now at 15-6.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, the grand slam last inning, it'll be interesting to see how the Lumberjacks respond after that offensive output in the previous inning. In order to make a comeback, it's got to come from somewhere, and with only 2 innings left in the game, it's got to happen sometime.
The 0-2 is a curveball that misses away. 1-2 now. The starter Whitmore went 6 strong. Gave up only 2 runs as Rico grounds it to third. Nice play there on a hop by Hale, who throws it in the dirt. A one-hopper. Woodard can't come up with it, and it sails out of play, bounces off what looked like to be the bullpen out there. Bullpen is not in a separate area like in most ballparks here at Albert Park. It actually is on the field, much like AT&T, just down the road a little bit, or the Coliseum just across the Richmond Bridge. So we'll see another pinch hitter here. This is Lex Robbins, the big righty, who sports what you could call the caveman look, a very pronounced beard, and he doesn't need batting gloves when he goes and hits.
If you're a very pure hitter, of course, and he's a guy who definitely has some power and can rip one out of the infield.
Pomerantz catches the outside corner. It's 1-1. Robbins goes ahead and swings away, fouls it straight back, and was not fooled at all by that pitch from Pomerantz and looked to be on the fastball right away. Robbins, who played for the Santa Clara Dynasty, which is another team within the Silicon Valley Adult Baseball League. Now playing for the Lumberjacks, swings and misses. Strike 3, and Pomerantz strikes out Robbins for out number 1.
Your attention, please. Pinch hitting for East Bay, number 7, Matt Lucchese.
Another pinch hitter here for East Bay, and another one that doesn't like the batting gloves, Matt Lucchese, who was last night's catcher, getting an opportunity here. A career .261 hitter with 3 home runs and 28 RBIs. Played at the Division I Niagara College in 2008 and 2009. Started 30 games in 2008. Chops the ball foul down the third base side. Bounces off the Budweiser field box. And a long run for one of the Pacific's bats boys. That's Joey Calzaretta, who retrieves it and retreats into the Lumberjacks dugout as this pitch is grounded foul down the third base side.
And he seems to be really early on the pitches, which is surprising because I noticed earlier in the at-bat what a large piece of lumber he's actually wielding. It seems to be a bat that maybe it could just look bigger in his hands compared to the piece of the batter we saw just strike out, but it's interesting how he really is able to get that around.
Yeah, Lucchesi does swing a big piece of lumber, as you can see. Holds it high and awaits and grounds it back up the middle. It's off of Pomerantz. Recovering is Kendall, who can't make the play, and everybody is safe. And that's a pitch that was just bounced right back up the middle. And you got to think that that makes Pomerantz nervous. We mentioned in his first start of the season, he started one of the games of the doubleheaders in Arizona against the Federals in Prescott, and a pitch was lined right back up the middle, hit him in the kneecap, ended the lefties' game. But seems to be okay. That one was more hit on a ground ball back up the middle, but still, you see these pitchers that take the line drives back up the middle, and that's always a threat when you're pitching. And you become a fielder as soon as you let go of that ball.
Exactly. And they started teaching that early in Little League, where after the windup, you got to be ready to field a ball, and it can be very difficult when a ball, especially a fastball, comes screaming off the bat of a batter, and it's really something that's hard to react to.
Lonnie Jackson, the pinch hitter for Dwight Tardy, and he takes the first pitch low for a ball. Jackson, a big lefty, chops it foul just outside the first base side for a strike.
It's a very vulnerable position for a pitcher as well. After you finish your windup and you let the ball go, you're in a position where you've heard stories about people getting hit on line drives, hit on a bounce, and sometimes even getting hit by a broken bat. So definitely you got to be ready for whatever could happen.
Jackson way out in front and swings and misses, comes up empty, 1-2. Lonnie Jackson, was drafted by the Dodgers in the 1991 amateur draft in the 10th round. And he's a local guy as well, out of Oakland High School. Was drafted out of George Washington High School. So one of the guys that made the jump to affiliated ball right out of high school, didn't bother going to college. Swing and a miss, strike 3 for Jackson. And Pomerantz records his second strikeout of the inning, and now 2 down with 2 on. Top of the order for East Bay, Joe Wittick. Couple of base knocks, couple of runs scored for the leadoff hitter. Wittick, one of those guys. Established hitter, playing shortstop, and the table setter for the East Bay Lumberjacks offense. The one strike pitch is up and away for a ball. It's lefty versus lefty as Pomerantz looks in to his catcher, Matt Cavanaugh, against Wittick. Here's the pitch, and Wittick skies it in the air to center field. Back goes Pace, still going back. He's got a beat on it, though, and will make the play. We'll keep it right here at Albert Park. Again, Hunter Hornstein, Randy Shapiro, and a great game so far for the Pacifics if you're a fan of offense. 15 runs on 13 hits. They have made one error, however, they do currently lead 15-6. The big player of the game so far, though, has got to be Kyle Donani with a couple of home runs, including a grand slam.
Exactly, and that kind of momentum that comes from a grand slam is really unmatched. I mean, it's one of those things that can really shift the pace of a game, and like we saw Kyle hit one earlier in the game, as soon as the Lumberjacks responded with their own slam, it still wasn't enough to quite come back into this ball game.
If you're wondering why you don't hear any music going on in the background, here at Albert Park, it is in a residential area, and after 9 p.m. there is a sound ordinance. So you kind of go back to the baseball of there's not a whole lot of sound, and you just hear the natural sounds of the game, whether that's the ball hitting the leather, or the bat hitting the the ball hitting the bat, I should say. But kind of a cool experience here at Albert Park. If you haven't made it to a game, it's a beautiful ballpark and a great place to watch a game. And the team isn't bad either.
Not at all. And touching on the sound thing, Albert Park was just upgraded with a new sound system that sounds unbelievable. You can really hear the low of the announcer over the whole entire park as well with the walk-up songs that the players pick themselves. It really makes for a great atmosphere if you're ever in the business of coming to a game on a Thursday night.
Absolutely, and for not a whole lot of money, you can have your family of 4 out here, and it's a great time. And again, that's what independent and minor league baseball is about. It is about the fan experience and about providing not only a good product on the field, but a good, enjoyable, safe atmosphere for fans to go to and want to come back. When this ball club first got going, and I'm talking about the San Rafael Pacifics here, back in 2012, the biggest hurdle was to get over some of the surrounding residents that may or may not have had their concerns about having a team here, and maybe some of their thoughts of the complaints that would come with it or what have you. None of that has materialized, and the community has really embraced this ball club, and a lot of it, you have to believe, is because of the strong belief that the fans come first and the experience comes first. And in just year 2 for the San Rafael Pacifics, they've been very successful, and they have a very strong, loyal fan base already.
Definitely, and as you talked about, the experience is something that is...
Matt Quintero swinging first pitch to lead off the top of the 8th. He'll hit it just foul down the right field line. Strike 1.
As you were talking about, the experience is such a great part about coming to this ballpark, and whether it's the fans or the very friendly staff, I've heard constant comparison to the way that AT&T Park is very friendly with ushers up and down the aisle, chanting along with the fans, and it is a definite comparison in the atmosphere. And I would say, to go a step even further, much more of a family-friendly and very inviting place to come watch a game, which is, if you live in Marin County, much closer than driving into the city.
New pitcher for the Lumberjacks is number 46, Jay Almendrol, and he gets Quintero to pop up the 2-strike pitch, and a nice play by the catcher going to his knees to corral that first out for East Bay, and not a bad play for a team that's down 6-15. They still play hard, and they still play the game the right way.
Yeah, and that ball was hit high in the air just very similarly to the previous ball, and that catcher's really doing a great job at getting back there, locating the ball, and getting in a good position so that he can catch the ball on the way down. And a great play there, as the wind did blow it a little bit towards the diamond after he had rushed back there, but he had the agility to change his direction and reach out and catch that ball on the edge of his mitt there.
The number 9 hitter, Zach Pace, in to hit now. Out of Cotati, California, makes the drive from his home to the ballpark every day. Not a bad drive. Pace, a fan of gardening, actually has his own garden at his house. Makes his own corn, tomatoes. He's even got watermelons. A guy that, despite the small stature, fills out that uniform well. You never see his uniform dirty as he fouls a pitch down the left field line for a strike. You never see his uniform clean. It's always dirty. He's always running head first. Mm-hmm. He's a guy that doesn't wear batting gloves, wears the sock stirrups with the pants up. He has a groove notcher that he uses his bat on to make those grooves into his bat. Some guys, Danny Gonzalez comes to mind, use just the dirt and pine tar on the gut. Right. He uses grooves. He doesn't need pine tar. He uses the grooves, and his fingers fit in those grooves, and that's just what's comfortable for him. Zach Pace takes a ball in the dirt. It's 2-2. Pace is a veteran of professional baseball. Once played 96 games, all on the road.
As you see on screen right now, one of our Marin TV cameramen, and speaking as a member of the Marin TV squad who broadcasts the Pacific's games. It's really great to be a part of the community that we have going with our classes where we go to practice the film work and behind the scenes work with the TriCaster and the other production tools, and definitely a great thing to be a part of a community like that, and I'm very grateful for it.
Pace trots on down to first after another walk on the 3-2 pitch. Pace has been on base 4 times now. Was only retired back in the 3rd inning where he flew out to center field. And that'll kick the lineup to the top of the order with Bryce Kendall. And to go back to what you were saying, the Marin TV crew has been absolutely phenomenal in bringing what is now 5 games live to the homes here in Marin Cable as well as online. Anybody can watch it. They're slated for 6 games this season. And can't say enough about what they do and the learning experience that they're providing as Kendall lines it in the left field for a base hit.
Yeah, and as you were saying, I mean, I just feel very lucky to be a part of it. It's such a great opportunity, and I'm so glad that members of the Pacifics allowed students to do these broadcasts, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity because it's not often that you see high schoolers getting the chance to do this kind of real-world live broadcasting on a big scale with the teams such as the Pacifics.
And if you're wondering at home, yes, it is. Students from across the country and at different levels as Chase Fontaine digs in for another at-bat. He takes the first pitch down for a ball. It is all students. They're running the cameras. They're running the direction of the broadcast. They're running the sound. It's all hands-on and it's all them. Chase fouls it straight back.
Chase has told us that he
and
likes
it is
rainbows,
fantastic. It's a fantastic job, and they're doing an incredible job, and
some conversation tidbits for you
feel
ladies
quite
for
lucky to be able to be a part of it.
Yeah, and as you said, it's at this point in the season a completely student run. I mean, we run the production switcher, which changes between cameras. We run the audio, the graphics, and I'm lucky enough today to help out with some color commentary. And it's just great to have the opportunity because, as I said before, it is very rare to get something like this. And all of us, not only myself, are very grateful for this opportunity.
The 1-2 to Chase Fontaine is taken just a bit low for a ball. Count evened up at 2-2. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. It's 15-6 San Rafael all over East Bay. In Game 3 of this 3-game set, the Pacifics won the first 2 and look like they're going to cruise to another win. Fontaine swings and fouls at the plate. We'll do it again. Looked like he might have fouled it off his foot.
Yeah, I think he did there. Seems to
talking to himself and
walk around, shake it out a little bit.
You walked out of your TV view there, but he walked almost halfway to the dugout and looked straight up at the sky and shook his leg, gritting his teeth. 3-2, swung on a ground ball to the right side. They will be at first. They recovers in time to make the out, and it'll be 2 down. The runners advance, Pace to third, Kendall to second.
Yeah, that one got the Albert Park hops and caught him right up in the upper chest, shoulder area. But he recovered and made the nice throw to first base just in time to get the runner.
Had the play been made cleanly, it looked like it could have been the inning-ending double play. However, the Lumberjacks will settle for the fielder's choice, and now they must get through Hova for out number 2. Swings away at the first pitch he sees. It was a breaking ball, and he skies it to left. Under it, and that will do it. In the inning, one hit, 1 walk, no runs. They still lead 15-6 after 8 complete. We head to the 9th inning. It'll be Ross Pomerantz back out to the mound to try to close it out and deliver the Pacific's 36th win of the season. For being a good sport about it all, it'll be Lions digging in against Ross Pomerantz to start the 9th inning, and he rips one past the diving Johnny Woodard into right field, and the leadoff man is on here in the 9th inning for East Bay.
And Janet doing the best she could with that wireless mic. It tends to have difficulties, and with anything that's wireless, just isn't as reliable as a hardwired connection, but doing a great job there, and looking forward to this next inning.
Justin James, the batter, he will dig in. James has played all 9 innings for the Lumberjacks, and what his manager calls him one of the best, if not the best, hitter in the league. James, a guy that played for the Vallejo Admirals earlier this season, works with a 1-0 count and takes the next pitch in the dirt for a ball, and it skips all the way out, almost halfway up the first base line. Matt Cavanaugh smothered that ball, but it, again, took a tricky hop, maybe an Albert Park hop, up the first base side, and Ross Pomerantz corrals it and gets a new ball, and away we go. James singled back in the 3rd inning, his only hit of the night. And the 2-0 is in there for a called strike. It'll be Pomerantz to close this game out for San Rafael. They lead 15-6 here in the top of the 9th inning.
And James, one of the guys who really is going to be a great player in the future to help make the Lumberjacks really a very competitive team in the coming years, and is doing a great job so far for the Lumberjacks.
Made his presence known last night with the 2-run home run in the 8th inning. Hit to a part of the ballpark where not a whole lot of people hit it. He skies it in the air to left field. Racing over is Quintero, who makes a sliding grab. Did he come up with it? Yes, he did. And a sparkling defensive play by the Pacific's left fielder.
And I mean, great hustle to run all the way across from where he was in sort of a left center, closer to center position, and just booking all the way across the field, and beautiful slide, almost fundamental to grab that ball right out of the air.
Quintero, who is normally a backstop and used to blocking the balls in the dirt and throwing out base runners, instead finds himself out in left field. It's a testament to the depth of this organization. A team that, top to bottom, could be better than the 2012 team that won a championship in its first season, and the San Rafael Pacifics in 2013 look to do the same come the playoffs.
And like you touched on, the Pacifics have 3 catchers who the pitchers are all comfortable throwing to. They're all very good at targeting the ball and showing the pitcher, where exactly he wants it. And it's really great to have the kind of depth that you talked about in an organization.
Pomerantz on 2-0, and it's popped up on the infield. Back goes Kendall. A couple of steps into the outfield grass, he reaches up and makes the play. And the Pacifics are 1 out away from wrapping this thing up.
Batting for East Bay, number 28, Steve.
And as luck would have it, potentially the last batter of the night for East Bay is a former Pacific, wearing number 28, which to some is still unfathomable to say. Wearing green is Steve Detweiler. Pomerantz delivers the first pitches in the dirt for a ball. Steve, in his debut for the East Bay Lumberjacks, is 0 for 4. A couple of flyouts, a couple of groundouts. Pomerantz delivers, swung on and missed, strike 1.
Always interesting to see trades within a series and see players go from one team that you're used to hearing to the team that they're actually playing the next day.
Doesn't happen too often, but in indie ball, and minor league baseball for that matter, you learn not to be surprised by anything. Next pitch is in the dirt. It's 2-1 to Detweiler. 2 outs here in the 9th inning. Pomerantz delivers, and Detweiler makes an attempt, comes up empty. Good off-speed pitch by Pomerantz. Gets the former NC 2A College World Series champion fishing, and it's 2-2, and the Lumberjacks down to their last strike. Pomerantz looks in and delivers, and it's fouled away, and will play at least one more pitch. Whitmore, the starter for the Pacifics, looks to win his 6th game of the season and move his personal winning streak to 5. He worked 6 strong innings. Wayne Franklin on the hook for the loss. Pitch to Detweiler, fouled back again.
Like you talked about with the family atmosphere of the park, that last foul ball that went over the grandstand here, a stampede of children sprinted after it. And you can tell that they're all having a great time. Everyone, all the fans who are still here and who are loyal Pacifics fans seem to be having a great time, even though it's a little bit chilly. Love to see their Pacifics play.
Detweiler pops it up. Back goes Kavanaugh in front of the Pacific's dugout. Slides and is unable to come up with it, and we will continue playing here at Albert Park.
Those plays are always a little bit dangerous when it gets close to the fence. I'm glad he didn't bump into it and that he's all right.
And for a guy that has recovered from a hamstring injury, you almost want to cringe at a play like that. However, Kavanaugh, full steam ahead, not settling for anything less than 100%.
Exactly. It's always great to have a guy who, definitely plays for the team and put his body out there even when it comes close to the fence, but it's one of those guys who will do whatever it takes to get a W.
Pomerantz on 2-2, and it's lined into right field, and it'll get down for a base hit, and it gets past Hova and will roll to the wall. Detweiler on his horse has 2. He's headed for 3. The runner is going to come all the way around, and East Bay has scored 1 here in the 9th. Steven Detweiler has his first hit as an East Bay Lumberjack, and a two base error, I should say, on Michael Hova. It's 15-7.
Now batting for East Bay, number 23, Danny Rico.
Bring up Danny Rico. And just a good at-bat there by Steve Detweiler, never giving up. Fouled off a couple of good pitches with 2 strikes. Doesn't try to do too much, goes the other way with the base hit. And then it just got by Michael Hova, went all the way to the wall, allow him to get to 3rd.
It was one of those errors that, you're late in the 9th inning and game's almost over. Mind might tend to roam a little bit. And the ball just seemed to...
Rico hits it in the air to center field. This should do it. In comes Pace, waits for it, and the Pacifics are winners tonight. 15-7, your final from Albert Park. Bennett Whitmore with the win. Wayne Franklin with the loss. Whitmore improves his record to 6-2. Wayne Franklin drops to 0-2. The Pacifics with the win move to 36-12, and depending what happens in the islands, could lead as much as 6 in the Pacific Association. With the loss, the Lumberjacks fall to 1-21. I'm Hunter Hornstein for Randy Shapiro. You've been watching Pacifics Baseball on Marin TV. Want to thank you for joining us. Good night.